Hey, what's up, guys? I'm a little bit late this morning. Just gonna do an all-in chat. Not much to cover when it comes to Xbox, but I like to kind of be a little bit consistent with the Xbox news. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, there's stuff in the news, especially when it comes to Microsoft and Xbox. They constantly, like I always say, suck out all the air in the room, positive, negative. It doesn't matter whatever it is. And sometimes, at least in the Xbox side, these gaming websites and influencers and stuff like that. They cover Microsoft as a whole. I don't think they do a pretty good job. Sorry, just my critique. Just being honest. And that's why I keep the channel going. But to be honest, there's not really much going on. The only thing I kind of want to talk about is what's Microsoft going to do now. We talked about this last week or the week before. Of course, a lot of you guys who keep up with all the Microsoft news knows that the FTC went down in burning flames with their bid to stop Microsoft from purchasing Activision King Blizzard. Just to let you guys know the way the government works. Once they put something in motion, it's hard to stop it. Um, but that's all it was. It was just going through the motions. Again, if you guys want to look into the nitty gritty of it, probably one of the best people to follow, which is on X, is Cobro. He follows this stuff closely, as well as other gaming news from the legal perspective. He probably has the best take on it so far that I've seen. But I mean, for me personally, I knew it was over, especially after the administration's change that it just went through. You have a current administration in office right now that's very pro-American, pro-business. The only thing they'll probably put Xbox and Microsoft on is possibly their dealings with foreign countries. But Microsoft is a self-made company here in the U.S. They still have a big presence here. Yeah, I believe they're still in Seattle. Where a lot of tech companies have moved away from Silicon Valley. Microsoft still resides in its original place of origin, um, or at least where they've been for a while. I shouldn't say origin. I'm not sure if it was it. I don't think it was in Seattle that they started, but they hold a pretty big presence in Seattle. If you guys watch the documentary on Xbox, you guys understand that. Right? Hold on. Sorry, this thing's not working. So the Power On documentary, when they go into the deep dive of how Xbox was created, you get a pretty good idea of the impact that Microsoft has in that area and in that state. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about. Sorry, as I try and pull this up. Yeah, I'm doing this on the fly, guys. I know it's like 7 o'clock. I got a lot of stuff to do today. But if you guys want to comment, man, this is definitely the podcast to do it in today. Not gonna be too long. And so, but please, if you guys come into the chat, let me know what's on your mind. You can ask anything. Because, like I said, the news has been quite sparse. In fact, a lot of the stuff that's revolving around Microsoft and the news is kind of ultra focused on Sony right now, especially with the games that they're getting from Microsoft. Um, and that the whole third party thing is, I mean, it's happening, and it's happening in real time. I think they're just going to put everything over on Sony at this point. Um, which I mean, like I said last week, I can't really. You guys know I don't like it, but there's nothing I can do about it. That's going to be the game plan. Um, but one thing we can discuss is like what Microsoft is going to do moving forward. So again, the FTC thing is done. It's been done. They just gotta, again, they just gotta go through the motions, get that out of the way, and hopefully Microsoft continues to grow their ecosystem. And when I'm talking in this video about ecosystem, I'm talking beyond just owning studios and helping independent developers and stuff like that. I'm talking about a full blown, more robust ecosystem, and to get on the same level as Apple, get on the same level as Amazon. I would like to see Microsoft, if they're gonna do this, man, do it right. I tell you guys all the time on this channel, man, I can't stand when people half-ass stuff. And that includes Microsoft with some of the plans that they have, right? A lot of times they'll have the foresight and they'll get ahead of the curve, but the follow through really needs work on some of the things that they do. I'm just being honest, guys. It is what it is. It's kind of one of the most frustrating things for me as a person who's an Xbox fan. That they hold on. So I can pull this up. Sorry, I'm trying to pull something up while I'm trying to do this at the same time. It's frustrating for me as an Xbox fan when they do that. They have these great ideas, they don't follow through, and then somebody else comes along and picks it up, right? That would happen to Sega every once in a while. Sega was always ahead of the curve, on the cutting edge. It kind of what drove their business. It kind of was the business that they're in. Again, Sega comes from that arcade background, so it makes perfect sense. But at the end of the day, dude, it's just frustrating when Microsoft does it. The only saving grace, again, Microsoft is $1 trillion company, right? I say that all the time on the channel because it's true, and so they can afford to take risks and stuff like that. Some risks are better than others. That's for sure. Um, but I mean, so far, man, as far as the Xbox is concerned, where it counts, Microsoft is really killing it, right? And that basically boils out to the games I was playing last night. Again, the game that I'm playing nonstop right now is Towerborn. Really great game. It was really fun yesterday because it's a Friday night. Got off of work, man. Had to get some stuff done. I just wanted to chill before I went to bed. And so I jumped on Towerborn, and of course, being a Friday night, this is a live service game. A lot of people were on, a lot of people in the lobby. I was able to get into games with like four or more people, which is the bread and butter of this game. You can play the game by yourself, and I think in parts it's good to play by yourself, man, because you gotta level up, you gotta get your gear right, um, you gotta learn the mechanics of the game and stuff like that. But once you get that down, right, and you jump into like a four player match, even a two-player match, any match where you can get another player in there, dude, it kind of changes it completely changes the dynamic of the game, right? That's why when those guys are getting interviewed, did a video on that as well. A lot of for these guys that were the developers and stuff like that, that's something that they were hitting home with, right? It's just definitely a game that's more appreciated if you play it with other people, right? And so, you know, for me personally, I think they need to get the drop in, drop out thing a little bit better. Now, the game is still like in testing phase, and it shows because sometimes I'll be in games and just get dropped. Sometimes I'll be in the game and just get dropped. Just kick me out to the main menu. Um, so hopefully they can iron that stuff out. Hopefully they can do it soon, because that will be a good indicator that they're moving forward with the game, and that you're going to finally get the things that a lot of people are asking for, especially guys that have been playing the game longer than it just got on Xbox Game Pass. But people on Steam, I believe, the PC community has been playing this for a way longer time, right? And it shows, and you can tell when you play with somebody that's on PC because they're, the gear that they got, dude. I mean, and it's good too, right? Because if you don't know what you're doing and you end up in a game like that, dude, these guys will kind of, you know, and you don't have to talk to anybody in the game. That's how simplified the game is, and yet this still has that depth to it. But you can pretty much they'll help you. Or as far as the experiences I've had, a lot of people in the community understand where you are as a player, because sometimes you end up with guys in lower levels that are in there, and they're probably and they got higher gear, but they're probably in the lower levels just because they want to play with people, right? And they're pretty cool about it, man. I've never had any issues with anybody, right? It's always been a good experience. Something that um, that makes Towerborn like. I think if they can get the drop in, drop out gameplay down to a science, kind of like what COD does. And again, COD's not perfect, right? I understand that. But if they can get that down to a science, that'll help the game tremendously, right? Hold on. I'm going to switch gears here in a second. But if you guys haven't played Towerborn and you guys like action type games, definitely play this. When you watch the video and the ways, if you watch clips and videos and stuff on the game, and when people talk about it, there's a lot more depth to it than what a lot of the videos are showing. And so, and then look, there's videos that you can do deep dives. I've looked at a couple of them just to get a better understanding of the game. But until you play it, and then you realize how you can use certain abilities and the gear and stuff like that for your characters, and how that affects your actual gameplay. It's something that you can listen to people talk about, like me, listen to this video, talk about it. But until you actually play it and experience it, um, you truly won't know. I mean, seriously. And the only thing I look at about this game is as it over time as it grows, not just in player count, man, but just as a game in and of itself. Um, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with the game. As good as it is now, I can see the possibilities going down the road with a lot of developers. There's a lot of stuff they can add. It's a live service game, guys. It's got some basic stuff in there, right? They already got the skins up there. You're already at the store, which I don't have a problem with. Look, dude, if you want to buy the stuff, buy it. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Right? Everybody has opinions on it. That's fine. Right? But at the end of the day, dude, be civil about it. Right? If I'm playing with somebody and I see that I've seen a couple people have a couple of the skins already, man, and no harm, no foul, dude. It's cosmetic, and it's your money. That's one of the things now with these live service games, man. We should be used to it already. You should know what you get with live service games. So either you participate or you don't. Right? I for one, dude, I'm done, dude. It's like I'm done with everything when it comes to economics and gaming and stuff like that, and the way people complain about it. Right? I didn't have. Again, this is me going back to the argument when I was gaming, when I was coming up, dude. You just bought your games, dude. You didn't have services. You didn't have the internet as big as it is. You didn't have influencers talking about this kind of stuff, dude. People were just gamers, right? You just, if your friend had a game you didn't have, and he gave you his opinion on it, right? And it was about the game, how his experience was, and you took what he said, and if he's your friend and you game with him, dude, that's the one you trusted his opinion. But at the same time, man, it's like if he didn't play, dude, it's just, you know, you either liked it or you didn't, man. But if you wanted to try it, you just went ahead and bought the game. That's the way we did it back in the day. Not like you guys have, not like now, man, where everybody's got to dissect and break down everything, dude. If I have one advice for people who are gamers now, dude, know the type of gamer you are. Know yourself as a gamer, right? And I think it's good to do that, man. Because I think a lot of people need to be honest with themselves. Because a lot of you guys, again, I'll say this constantly. And I know people get mad at me when I say it, but that's just the truth. Is that a lot of you guys will find out that you're not really gamers, and that's fine, right? Maybe you're just a casual gamer. Maybe you just like it because it's popular. Maybe you just like one game. Hey, brother, if you want to jump in, I'll send you the link on Instagram, dude. I'm just doing a quick all-in chat, man. Not much to talk about, bro, but I'm an Xbox channel, and I've been doing all the political stuff, dude. And people will be like, "Yeah, dude, what about the Xbox stuff?" So I'll shoot you a link, brother. I didn't know if anybody was gonna be able to jump in. Hold on, I'll send it to you, dude. Then if anybody else wants to come in, they can. It's just basically a chat, bro, because I don't really have much to talk about. Though I will show something on Grok that I did, which I love doing, actually. All right, brother, I sent it to you if you have time. If you have time. I know you're busy. And I won't be long today either because I got to go. I had a friend fly in to Hawaii. I'm trying to meet up with them. I just feel kind of guilty, bro, because I'm sick. I'm still sick, dude. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. The first week was really bad, but I still have this cough, so I don't want to get anybody else sick. And then I have to go back to work. But luckily, everybody at work got sick. So, so it was messed up and it wasn't me, dude. I got sick and I probably spread it, but somebody else in our office got sick, and that person feels really bad because they went on vacation, came back, their family was sick. They brought it in to work. She had to work, dude. She's in the military, and I got sick, and then other people got sick, and then two other people hurry up and took their leave, man, because they hadn't been able to take leave because of workload. So one lady she was able to make it out. She didn't get sick, but everybody else did. So, and that was fine with me, man, because I would have had to take leave because I didn't want to get everybody else sick. But since everybody got sick, I just went to work. And I'll be honest with you guys, man, I didn't really want to go to work because I wasn't feeling well, dude. But I had to suck it up, dude, because I'm like, dude, we short, and I had stuff to do. And I didn't want to come back. I did what everybody else does, man. I went old school, probably killed my kidneys, man. But I was just drugging myself out. I'll be honest with you guys. That's what I was doing. When you're younger, man, it's not a problem, guys. But when you get older, dude, that stuff starts to wear you down, dude. If you take medication, dude, eat something, right? Don't mess up your stomach. That's probably why I'm having stomach issues. I just used to pop ibuprofen, man, for pain in my knees and stuff. Well, anyway, this isn't a medical podcast. We're just letting you know. But hey, brother, I sent you the link on Instagram. Okay, you know how my Twitter is. So I don't know, man. Twitter's getting X is kind of getting kind of irritating because you follow people and they just message you for some reason. And I'm like, dude, look, I don't know who you are. I don't mind talking to you and stuff like that, bro. But if this is something that you just want to get engagement so that you can make money off of this stuff, I'm like, it's not going to happen with me, bro. I don't even have time to do those kind of things. And it's nothing personal, right? It's just the way it is. So yeah, we'll wait for Hebot to jump in here, but just continuing and stuff like that. Again, man, I think it's better to know if you're a gamer or you're not a gamer, right? Because a lot of people have these opinions, right? Then when you listen to them, and I'm like, no, dude, that's not how gaming works, right? And I'm getting to a certain point in gaming that it's more about the industry for me than it is anything else. You guys know I'm politically charged on this channel. You guys know how I feel about certain topics when it comes to politics, especially as it's influencing games and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, for me as a gamer, man, that's what it boils down to, is the games, right? And right now, dude, and this is why I can sit here and critique a lot of the people in the Xbox community, a lot of the people in the gaming community, quote unquote, right? It's because a lot of these dudes, man, you can tell that they're not gamers, right? And not on the level where they're thinking about the industry as a whole. Man, a lot of these guys are just doing it for clout. A lot of them to get views. A lot of them to be an influencer. A lot of these dudes have opinions, but you can tell their parents never told them, hey, before you say something, before you open your mouth, maybe you should like think about it a little bit right before you start speaking. And that's why a lot of these people get shut down, right? Because they don't know what they're talking about. Something I talked to Hebert about. I'm pretty sure he won't mind me talking about this, and when he jumps on, he can talk about it in detail. There's a lot of reasons why people like don't like Hebot. Right? We talked about this offline, online, kind of, and offline. Man, Hebot knows a lot of things about gaming, and more importantly, he has a lot of experience with gaming. Right? It's just like when you look at Sega Man's channel, and then when Sega Man talks about it, you know that he's been gaming forever. Where you look at Sega's man, all you have to do is look at his collection videos, man, or just the collection in the background, or when he pulls out a game from like 1990, right? Been there, done that, right? He's got the experience, dude, and that trumps everything you read. That trumps everything you Bing or Google, right? A lot of people try and talk to people like us and try and tell us what gaming is and isn't, and we're like, no, yeah, that's not what it is, because we have a foundational knowledge about gaming. And look, I'm not putting us above everybody else, but I think it's very important, dude. It's like any other field or any other service, dude. It's like if you um, like where I work, dude, I worked with a lot of IT people, man, but a lot of the people that were coming in, the newer guys, dude, they would get stuck on certain things, right? And then the older guys would have to help them because there's some stuff that's still base and core that that comes back from the older days that they can explain to these younger guys, and then they get it. Because at the time, right, a lot of the software and the programs and stuff was doing all the heavy lifting, right? And now we're at a point where we're so advanced, right, that all that stuff it's gone. It went the way of the dinosaur, right? But you still have those kind of issues, right, where people, and we have full on meetings for this. This is what blows me away. We have full on meetings and stuff like that. And if you have somebody with that foundational knowledge in the meeting and they can explain stuff to people, then you can move on. But if you don't have that, dude, and that's how I feel about gaming right now, and not just gaming, pop culture in general, right? We're just stuck at that point where all that foundational knowledge is disappearing. Like how to write a good story, how to set up a protagonist, why your game should be deep and thoughtful, but first and foremost should be fun. Yeah. It's one of the things I loved about Seamus Blackley and what he said when he was getting interviewed. Seamus said, at the end of the day, it's art and stuff like that, but it's an entertainment. You need to have an entertainment value. So even though he comes from a tech background, I think he's an engineer, and he worked with physics a lot. He got it. He understood that you actually have a captive audience, and usually an audience of one, especially back then, and you have to entertain this person for a number of hours. You have to get them to engage in your product, right? So it's that full circle thing, right? But ultimately, it comes down to entertainment, which ultimately comes down to gameplay. Like, how does your game play, right? That's why I miss the old school breakdown or reviews of games and stuff like that, because those reviews back then were made by people who were actually gamers, and you could tell they were gamers, right? Because they could talk about it in from a viewpoint of an actual gamer, because they themselves played games and they loved games and they loved the industry, and we were in that time period where the industry was growing, and we're experiencing it in real time, and it was awesome, right? I think about it all the time now, like how good we had it back then, right? How you could trust the journalist that was there because they were journalists. Because because a couple of the top dudes I follow, man, they only did the journalism thing because they were interested in gaming, right? And they gave them access and it allowed them to get the demos, right? And these were big things back in the day, right? And all they're doing is like talking back to the audience that follows them because we didn't have that access, so we were living through them, right? Right. But you could tell they were gamers, man, because they talk about it in those perspectives, not like now. how somebody will sit here and political, non-political, any of that stuff, dude. All you have to do is listen to the person breaking down the game, right? And you can tell from the, that's not the same. And I get it, dude. I check myself as well. I'm old. I come from a different generation when it comes to gaming. I got all that, right? But still, right? There's just some things, right, that should be beyond generational, dude. That again, I like to use the word foundational, right? Because it's cooked in, right? And if you're missing that kind of stuff, this is why some of these games don't do as well, right? Some people's focus when it comes to games are on the actual art, but not on the entertainment factor, or they're on the or they're just looking at how much money they're going to make, right? Or maybe they want to make a statement, political, um, ideological, right? That's why a lot of these things are butting heads right now because it's the classic thing of rule of writing, dude. When you write something, you have to think. One of the first things they teach you is when you're writing, you're not writing for yourself, right? You're writing for somebody, especially if you want that person to read, or if you want to get a job in that industry and stuff like that. You got to understand that it's not about you, right? That's first and foremost. It's not about you. It's about the audience, right? And the way people are nowadays, I'm just being honest, dude. That's very hard for them to do. It's very hard for them to do. You can see them struggling with it, right? That's why that fan fiction stuff is so big. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that, dude. You want to write the story you want to write, that's perfectly fine. But if you're gonna take that, translate it into a multi-million dollar video game, dude, you're gonna have to drive yourself back, dude. You're gonna have to humble yourself a little bit, dude. Learn the ropes, learn from the veterans, man. Read the room. Right? People just can't do that anymore. Dude, they just can't read the room, don't understand their audience, man, don't know what they're looking for. And in some instances, if you understand the audience, it might be a project you might not want to do at all. You see it all the time, man. A lot of these people are creative in the industry, and they get stuck on a game that they don't want to do, or they start a game that they think they're going in a different direction, and it goes the totally opposite direction. Redfall is a perfect example of that, right? That's the game that they created and the game that they were forced to do are two very different things. That's why a lot of the people jumped off the project. I, for one, love Redfall. I've talked about it. Right? I think it's a great game. It's the only thing I have a problem with Redfall is it's just it's one of these games because of everything that went on, right? It never realized its full potential. Still a great game though, dude. If you love the single player aspect of the game, they were trying to meld the two and they didn't do a really good job, right? Is there still hope? Yeah. Hey, dear, I'll send you a link if you want to come in. It's just a chat, because I gotta do the Xbox stuff, right? I mean, I do the political stuff. That's easy for me now. Well, technically, it's easy for me, but I mean, if I have the time, because there's so much stuff going on. But I gotta do Xbox stuff. So I'll send you a link now, and if you can jump in, jump in. He might join us as well. I know he's been busy too, but not a wrecking crew. Just a chat. If some of the guys, because I figured some of the people would jump in. And you can talk and we can talk about whatever. I sent you the link on Instagram if you want to come in. But that's just look, dude. I know I'm ranting a little bit, trying not to go all in on this stuff, but I think it's really important that when people do video games, they got to keep these things in mind, right? It's multifaceted now. This is why you see a lot of these studios closing, right? Because at the end of the day, man, you got to make money, right? Especially in this economy, you just have to make money. I know some people don't like that. Some people are like, well, I want to make the game. I talk to my kid about this all the time, right? But she has these ideas of grandeur. Right. And I'm like, hey, dude, but if you end up working for a company, man, and they show up at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and take all your hopes, dreams, and aspiration and stuff it in the trash can and just tell you, hey, make this, do it now, and I need it in an hour, you got to do it. That's just the reality of it. Hey, Dia.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, sorry. I was ranting a little bit. Trying not to
Oh,
rant today.
it's okay.
I've been
Gotta
ranting
get it
too much.
out.
Nah, I'm becoming that grouchy old man. Even I don't like. I listen back to one of my videos, like, oh my gosh, dude, I should just jump off a cliff.
What were you ranting about? Is it just you know, the perception of how things are changing up in the industry or something? What is it?
I just think gaming right now it's in flux, right? It
It
all,
is in the flux, yeah, yeah.
and so as an old school gamer, right? That's what I'm ranting on. Right? So, but I think there's some foundational things that these guys need to get back to, right?
Right.
Like if you want, like just something as simple as understanding your audience, reading the room,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that when you're creating something, it's not just about you.
Right, right.
Now, if you're a Saudi prince with bazillions of dollars, and it is about you, right? Because you can,
Yeah, yeah.
whether you win or
Whatever
lose,
you
fail,
want.
it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your little harem of people is not going to tell you otherwise. But if you
Mm-hmm.
have that type of money, you can do stuff like that, right? You see that with some of these owners of sports teams, right? With their massive egos, they do whatever they want to do, screw the fans, right?
Right, yeah.
But that's the level that they're at now. For most people, the most of us, in reality, right? We have to keep these things into consideration, right? It's just like, yeah, this is my dream job, this is my dream project. But
Mm-hmm.
just like Yu Suzuki, like who worked for Sega, man, he loved gaming, he loved it, but he built it all on the arcade. He built up his reputation.
Mm-hmm.
He became somebody in Sega that he could make Shenmue, right?
Right, right.
But if you look at Shenmue, and I'm not talking after the fact, even while they were building it, there was a lot of risks they were taking with that
It
game.
was because that was so different. I remember when I first played it, I fell in love with it, but it was different because I had never played a game quite like that one at the time.
And not for everybody, as they found
It's
out.
not for everybody. No, yeah.
So that's the game you get to make when you technically pay your dues. You make your
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, right? Like the dude that was Jeff Keighley's boy, um,
Gosh, what's his name? Yeah.
Kojima.
uh, Kojima. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, Kojima's Kojima, right? He is who he
Mm-hmm.
is, And but you put in the time, man. You make the money, and then you get to do stuff like that. For me, I kind of look at these guys now; they just want to skip to that last part. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
You gotta pay the dues, man. I mean, like if you look at some of the biggest industry CEOs from back in the day, they actually started at the bottom and they worked
Mm-hmm.
their way up to the top. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know we live in different times and stuff like that, but I think that recipe needs to come back a little bit because things are getting missed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you ever had like one of the girls I work with, she made a cake and you can tell this is kind of her first time, and she brought it in and stuff like that. But you can tell like just some stuff that she did not do.
Right, right.
Right, she wanted to make this layered cake with some pudding in the middle. Probably should have put something there to make it stable. Like even I know, right? I was like, we're looking at that stuff, I was like, ooh, yeah. But and it is what it is, right? I mean, it still tasted like cake. But you see what I mean? But I can tell like looking at it like, oh, okay, there's some steps she missed.
Right.
But again, it's chocolate, so I eat it, right? I'm not picky. But
Mm-hmm.
my point being is that that's what I see, and I'm talking about across the industry
Yeah, the whole industry. Yeah, yeah.
and across the culture, pop culture especially. I sent you a link for Disney Dubai. I don't know if you saw it. I sent it to you.
Uh, I didn't see it.
Okay. Well, on Instagram, I sent you the link, and it's basically Disney is opening a Disney World in Dubai.
In
No, not Dubai.
Dubai?
Not in
Okay.
Dubai. In Abu Dhabi.
Oh, Abu Dhabi. Okay. But they
And I
can't do
was
they woke stuff there though.
no, no. So I loved it because I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's awesome because Abu Dhabi's going to do it, not Disney.
Oh, okay.
So, hey,
Hmm.
what's up, brother?
Hey, Hebot. You're muted there. There
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. He's probably. Hey, what's up, my brother?
Mm.
But just real quick, they're gonna do it in Abu Dhabi, and they had an interview with the person that's kind of like spearheading all the
Mhm.
development in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is where they have that indoor Sea World.
Mhm.
And then Disney showed up, dude. They shook the hands, they took the pictures, and I'm like, okay, Iger, just get on your plane, fly back here, right? let them let them handle it. Because if you listen to the guy, there's a guy there that was talking, and he got interviewed
Mhm.
by CNN, and then they were talking to him, and you can tell that magic that Walt Disney had, that excitement,
Mhm.
all of that, like you can see it in his eyes. And then he shared the story that the reason why he's doing this is because when he was younger, his mom took him and the mom and the family went to Disney World, and it was like a magic.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, so he goes there. He goes to Disney World. He has this magical experience, and it stuck with him. And it stuck with him so much to the point where it's influenced. Like you can tell, it influenced everything. I think he had to drop out and come back. He's gonna.
Okay. Okay.
You can tell it kind of influenced him. In fact, I think this guy, this Prince, was the guy that backed out of the Embracer deal.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay.
so. I'm trying to take that with a grain of salt, guys. I'm trying to
Yeah,
get
because
the.
I remember they was gonna do something with Saudi Arabia or some Arab country. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, but okay, it's that person. If it is, then that's understandable.
Hey Hiba, just real quick, Hiba, can you drop back out and drop back in? I can't click on you. Can you drop? Yeah, yeah. We're having connection issues, and you know what? It might not be Hiba. They're doing internet stuff in my neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Hiba's all the way on the. He's like all the way at the end of the. We're both on the far ends of the
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think this might be the guy because later on in the interview they talked to one of the guys that's spearheading it that works under him, but technically the CEO, and then he
Mhm.
was like, yeah, they had to deal with Epic Games that they have now. So I think, ooh, maybe that's why they brought. Maybe this is why. Maybe they
Oh.
were the guys that backed out of the deal with Embracer
Mhm.
because the money these guys are throwing around, dude. And
It's a
that's why,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I feel sorry for Embracer because it really wasn't Embracer, dude. They thought they had the money, and then at the last minute, these guys
Yeah, you
backed.
should never act on something you
Yeah,
haven't signed it. You cross your T's and dotted your I's. That's where they made the biggest mistake.
yeah. But
Um.
you know what I mean. But with Saudi Arabia, you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
You know, so I was like, yeah, you're
Well,
right.
I
Yeah,
what I would like to see is I hope that influences them because look at that's how I used to feel about Disney.
yeah, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's a disgrace now, and I would love to see a return to that, but it's so woke and everything that I just lost complete interest in it.
Well,
But
it's funny to me because people are protesting because they're like, they're like, do you know what they do in Saudi Arabia? And then I'm like, well,
oh, come on. I mean,
yeah,
you got Disney insulting people and all. Look, I'm not saying no place is perfect. None. I'm not even giving them a pass for anything. But one thing we got to understand as Americans is this. We got to let other countries deal with their issues and clean up their countries when we need to focus on cleaning up ours. Ours is far from perfect. And I think that we need to be focusing on the things that we need to do. We need to quit acting like we're the world's moral police and try to tell everybody else how to live. The way you do it is by example. That's
yeah.
how you do it.
And the sad thing about it is, especially in the realms of I mean, politics, all of that, but especially in the
Mm.
realms of culture, we're losing.
We are losing.
We're
You
losing
know
to these
why?
other
Because
countries.
we've abandoned what used to work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that that stuff doesn't work. We've
Yeah,
abandoned it for
yeah,
something else that doesn't gain us anything. It doesn't benefit our society.
yeah. It's funny to watch within the circles of anime and the
Hmm.
fan base how
Hmm.
different the U.S. fans or the Western fans, I should say, are from the rest of the world. The rest of the world is just like I don't know. They don't even think the way we do. So why
Right.
would we? And we're just one part of that fan.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So why would our voice be more important?
It's
For a
it's
lot of
not. Well, look, I'm not saying that they don't have genuine concerns, but the point is we are always in other people's business when
Mhm.
our own country needs attention and needs help, and our own culture needs help. We need to focus on that instead of having people, who wear pink hair and all this other stuff, telling other people how to live all the time, telling them, "Oh, you morally right and you morally wrong, and you should accept this and you shouldn't accept that," and all. We need to get our own act together. Our birth rates are dropping in the West. Think about this, okay? That's not a problem over there in the Middle East. Why?
No,
Because
no,
they value the family structure. Okay, with
yeah.
man and woman, they're not debating what a woman is every day. You
Well, yeah,
know,
they value the man and the wife and the wife and the wife and the
and a
wife.
wife and a wife, yeah.
But to your point, Dia, that's kind of the point, right? That's their culture.
That is
What
well,
they do.
that's how culture was all over the world, though.
Yeah,
We
at one
know
time.
that. Polygamy was commonplace. They kept that, whereas the rest of us moved away from. Which I'm glad we moved away from that. But I'm not saying I envy that structure. I don't, because I
Yeah,
don't think it works well in the benefit having all these wives and you got to compete for the attention of one guy. It just doesn't work.
no, one
But
wife is bad enough. One
yeah,
wife
and
is
then
bad enough.
keeping it in knees and all. I don't even think it's even. I just think and it's only always one way. So I don't like that structure. But and I personally know, from my own faith that it's not the structure that God had intended.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
it was never His intention. That was always something that man did.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I can at least admire them because they understand the importance of family, and we've all but abandoned that.
And
You know,
tradition. And their tradition.
and tradition. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with tradition. They have a long and robust history. So not all of it is bad. Like we like to pretend that everybody's history is all bad. No, no, not all of it is. Some of it is wonderful. Some good things came from out of there, and so they should always build on the good and kind of abandon the bad, but that's things that they have to work their way through, you know, and just like every society does, the West didn't just come to revelation that, oh, this is the right way. No, they had to work their way through issues too. You go in the past and see how Europe used to be at one point. No, it wasn't perfect. It was far from it. So all I'm saying is that we need to just stop trying to tell everybody what to do, and then honestly get our own act together, because they're doing some things better than we are, and we like to pretend like we're just always on the hot moral high ground when we're not always there. I don't even think they're en masse killing their babies all the time. I'm gonna be real. This, you said this is real talk, right?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I mean, so they're not constantly eliminating their future.
Oh
That's
yeah.
something we doing over here. That's not something they're doing over there.
Their social structure wouldn't allow that.
It wouldn't, and you know what? I'm glad they don't have the blood of all those babies on their on their conscience.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're, think about it. If you was a child, well, what society would you rather be born in?
Yeah.
You may not even be born over here, but over there, at least you have a chance of being born. These are things that we need to look at and inwardly and change. There should never be a reason for the West, as wealthy as it is, to have to abort babies left and right the way to the degree that we do.
Well, our society is just so
It's so messed up. All
ungodly.
the money that flows through here and stuff like that. They can
Well,
afford to raise their children.
well, on the
So,
flip side, though, on the flip side of that, I mean, isn't it? I mean, I think this is one of the things about being broke, like we are now.
mhm.
It brings that. It's bringing these moments of clarity. Dude, Hebot's like, sorry,
There you go. Okay, I hope he can stay.
Hebot, are you there? Can you chime in? I'm sorry. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you
Okay.
go.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Okay.
there we go. Dude, you're. Hey, I know it's bro. I'm saying it's not you, dude. We have like they're doing internet service. Um, if you guys didn't know this, where I live, dude, we didn't have internet when I moved into this house.
Oh.
They had no cabling when I first moved into this area
Oh wow.
at all. I live on a what they call a homestead, and so they have to build that thing from the
Oh,
ground.
that's nice. That's what we're gonna be making when I move later this year.
So they got two companies that are here on the island that are responsible for it, and they're trying to upgrade everybody's
They should have
internet
been
right
did that. Oh my gosh, they late.
Hawaii is a different beast. I mean,
Oh,
I'm happy because the company I'm with, they upgraded theirs, and now I can connect on Towerborn. So
okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, I
I
was
haven't
like,
even had the time to work on Tower Born. I've been I between working on the house and stuff. I think I told you guys about my family situation.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that situation has gotten a little bit better. I
Okay, okay.
appreciate anybody's prayers and well thoughts for our family. Yeah, so that situation has improved. I talked to my brother yesterday, so my mind is stretched to, all over the place with my family situation, and then trying to get ready for the move and all that. So it's just I don't have as much game time at all,
No,
very
that's
little. But I did do some tower bar. I want to get back in there, just can't be consistent. And I haven't finished South of Midnight. I got far in South of Midnight. I was enjoying the heck out of it, and then I had to get real busy again. But I'm gonna finish that up because that game is not that long.
no, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not.
not that long. It's not hard to beat. I could have been beat it, but I had to put the controller down for a while and focus on what I had to focus on. Um, but
I
yeah,
mean, it's got a good length. It's got a good length.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's got a
I
good
love
length.
stories.
Like, I mean, I mean, a lot of things about it. Graphics, obviously,
Gorgeous.
gameplay mechanics, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of good things about the stories are good. It's pretty dark. It's just certain
Character.
things that I can complain about, but not story wise, but not really. Not really, not really the game itself. When you're playing it, game is
yeah,
it
yeah,
has 14 stages. It's pretty long. It's about, I would say, 20 hours long
yeah,
because
yeah,
each stage is long. It's not short.
Yeah,
I think it has. I think the
I like
only
the puzzles. I like those. I've been doing pretty good on those puzzles. Well, you know,
brother. It has good. It has very good. It has very good platforming,
yes, it
right?
does.
Because the
Yes,
platforming is a combination of like
yeah,
it's almost like Prince of Persia and Ninja
yep,
Gaiden.
yep. Just like
The way
Prince.
they did it,
Yep,
you could wall run,
yep,
you could
yep,
do climbing,
yep.
gliding. It's a lot of cool stuff with the platforming elements are really good. Just like the combat is really really robust too when you're playing it. Even
Hmm.
though she has the two swords as her primary weapons, um, you can do a lot with the strands. With the moves they actually give you,
Hmm.
and with
And the
crouton and
combinations
some.
that you can do with it.
Yeah, combinations, right,
Yeah,
and and also the with crouton you could do cool things. Crouton helps you
yeah,
get into places you
yeah.
can't
That
get
little
to,
doll, yeah.
right? Which is basically a voodoo doll that she had when she was little. You could also have him control enemies when you're battling, so they can hit each other, turn on each other. Like he takes control of them. There's a lot of cool elements to it, but the game's not short. Like I don't
Hmm.
know why people try to say that it was short like that.
It's not like no Ubisoft game. That's what I think they mean by it.
Yeah, it's not. But I mean, Ubisoft saying also for the most part, it's because they just keep doing open world games, and open
Yeah,
world is
they need to change that up. It's too
yeah, that
long.
open world fatigue is like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
we
And
need
I
we need
can't do games that long, to be honest with you.
no. It's like it's like it's, just because it's open world don't mean that it's long. A lot of it is just repetitive things over and over and over, just in different places or areas in the map, and then just do it again. It kind of feels more like a chore or doing chores instead of just actual doing different things within the gameplay or the world itself.
Right, right.
That's why I'm really excited with that new Mafia because it's back to the basics. It's linear, level based. It's going to be pretty lengthy, but not too long.
Hmm.
It's going to have different gameplay mechanics. Great graphically, looks amazing. It's going to be $50
Right.
if you want to purchase it, right? Doom is the same thing. Doom's back to the basics instead of having an open world element like it did with Eternal, the last one and the one before it. It's
Hmm.
back to
Did you
like
guys
level based.
did you guys play Doom? Sorry, but did you
No,
guys?
I don't play. I like how
I,
it looks. I just don't play Doom, you know.
Okay.
I
I have
didn't.
played it in the past though. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I saw my son play it, but Doom is a really like it. If you like other types of shooters, it's really good.
It is
Because it's
good
the
though.
gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, yeah.
The magic of Doom is the gameplay mechanics.
It is to me.
They
Yeah,
get so
yeah.
smooth
Yep.
and so responsive and so chaotic at the same time. You
Yep.
just feel like a badass, huh?
If you love that gunning and run and gun and it reminds me of when I played Serious Sam. I played a lot of those back in the
Yeah,
day.
but Serious Sam almost feels like it's too chaotic, right? Because
It is too chaotic and
it's
Serious Sam.
throwing way too much at the same time. You can't
Yeah.
even enjoy the levels, the character design.
Yeah,
Doom
that's true.
is not like that.
That's
Doom
yeah.
is fast paced, but it allows you to soak in the story because this one has a lot of story in
It
comparison
does.
to the other one.
It
It didn't.
reminded me of Halo.
Yeah. It's definitely trying to give more of a Halo vibe as
Hmm.
far as the story element, but giving it good cutscenes, more character development,
Hmm.
even with the Slayer himself.
Right.
But when you're playing the world, it allows you to soak in the graphics, allows you to
Yes.
soak in the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
it allows you to soak in the character design, even with the fast-paced, frenetic gameplay of it, right? Or gunplay.
Gunplay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Remember, it's melee mixed with parry because they gave you a shield, mixed
Yeah.
with guns. Is a mixture of all three gameplay elements
Yeah.
as far as action goes, which is cool, right? It's really good. Plus, you got traversal as well. And now in this one, you can ride on a mech and you can ride on a dragon, which makes it even
That's awesome.
more exciting and more variety within the gameplay itself as you get along and progress further in the game, which is great. I saw my son playing, so I haven't been able to play because I'm trying to beat one game at a time, right?
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to beat my Alex Kidd in Miracle World remake that I haven't even beaten. I'm in the last level.
Mhm.
I'm trying to beat, South of Midnight. I'm in the last level, level 14. Um, I want to try
I
out
would expect
Towerborn.
that.
I definitely want to try out Towerborn because it's not only a beat 'em up, it's a hack and slash.
Oh, that's so good. I
It's in the vein of Guardian Heroes.
that.
Guardian. Remember Guardian Heroes for Saturn is in that vein, that same style. It has like RPG elements,
Mhm.
multiple endings, multiple passageways. That's what I like. Plus the artwork itself, it's very reminiscent to Guardian.
Mhm.
Oh, what was the other one? Too that I've been playing. Also that I like is have the Phantom. It's a comic book. It's a beat 'em up they made that was supposed to come to Xbox, but they delayed it according to them due to some, I guess, licensing issues or something with the passing. Being able to pass the requirements, I guess, that Microsoft wants them to have as far as quality.
Yeah.
And so they haven't brought it out yet, but I've been playing it on the PlayStation 5 because it came out for PlayStation 5 and for the Switch. I'm hoping that it finally comes to Xbox because I hate playing on there. But
I don't think you're gonna see more of that in Xbox. It's not worth it to many developers anymore. It just isn't. And everybody's
well, you saw. I don't know because Forever was talking about. There wasn't much to talk about, but there was some cool things that we can point out that definitely came out, like the fact that the real actual numbers for the PlayStation 5 came out, like I've been saying forever, like we said for many a time, that they shipped out 77 million units, but the real units in people's hands, consumers, is 56 million, right?
Oh, wait a minute, that came out.
Yeah, that came out in their quarterlies and it was broken down. A couple people did videos on it, not too many, but a
Okay.
couple, because they're not gonna do a videos where it's gonna expose the truth of what's going on with PlayStation.
Right.
You haven't seen not one Sony guy like MBG, like Reforge, like Porter Rock. You haven't seen none of those dudes come out and say it. Even people like Revenge Review Tech and dumbass fucking Angry Joe, the dumbest Puerto Rican on the YouTube scene. But I can't stand him. He's so stupid. He's an embarrassment to my race. Or nationality rather. That they always have something to say, right, about Xbox if it's negative or whatever, real quick. But when it's Sony shit, they don't really pull it out, right? They don't really do stuff right away. So yeah, it came out. So they have the real numbers is 56 million, which we all knew. 77 million shipped is very different than actual people's hands.
Yeah.
Microsoft doesn't do that. Microsoft gives you accurate numbers. What's on people's hands? They don't count shit. So it's safe to say that Microsoft probably is at about 40 to 43 million right now, as far as the Series X and Series S. So the disparity is not as big or as they want, as large as they want to make it seem like.
Yeah.
And now they can't use that card because the reality and the real truth has come out, right?
I mean, and it's changing too because ever since Xbox announced those price increases and people are actually paying attention to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Well, that price increase helped them.
consoles are moving.
That price increase actually helped them because what it did was a bunch of people went out and bought it right away, being scared of, I don't want to pay more money for it. Like, that just tells me there's a bunch of people that want to get Xbox, but are just so stubborn and refusing. They want to wait until the console is like $300 to go and buy it, as if the console is not valuable enough to buy at a regular price, or if it's not valuable, like let's say a PlayStation or Nintendo, when that's completely untrue and furthest from the truth and a complete fallacy. Because the only console with real value is the Xbox, right?
And just
Especially
real quick, shout out to Microsoft for doing that.
Right.
That's pissing me off lately is that I'm sitting here listening to these people complain about the price of stuff, right? And I'm like, look, bro, in the real world, you can't have everything. So you have to just, you guys should have been on board with this. Any gamer should have an Xbox. If you're not doing it on an Xbox, then you do it in the ecosystem. And so I'm glad they put their foot down on that because they've been being the nice guy this whole time. And as you can see, like you guys said, it's basically like Game Pass, right? Where you forget about that game,
Mhm, mhm.
and they tell you, oh, it's leaving in like next month. Then everybody,
Yeah, yeah. They quickly do
Everybody
these
started buying.
articles. They headline articles. Oh, 7 games leaving Game Pass, like making it seem like it's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
But then when they announce 7 new games, which they already said that was going to be the case, they take out and put in.
Yeah.
And what they do is nobody will talk about it except Xbox actual, sites or
Yeah,
Xbox
sites,
themselves.
right. That keeps
Right, or Xbox
Yeah.
themselves with Xbox Reddit or whatever. They'll be like, oh yeah,
right.
these are the 4 or 7 new games coming this week, or the 10 new games coming in. But every other outlet, you'll see them 7 games leaving Xbox. Oh my God, which one are they? Get them before horrible practice, or is this a shame that they're leaving, or something stupid you'll see on the headline. Like, what the fuck? Like, bro, it's old. It doesn't work anymore. No one fucking cares. Stop it. Cut it out. Like,
And
you know what I mean?
And may I do a short little rant because I want to piggyback off of what Sega Forever said. But before we do, I want to
Yeah.
say hello to Anthony Chipmunk. Thank
Oh,
you for
sorry.
saying hi to all of us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up?
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Been a while since I've seen the brother.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I wanted to just say that it's everybody else's fault for not buying the games when Microsoft had the prices low and was trying to entice them. You didn't reward them for that behavior. You didn't say you're doing what we want here, so that Microsoft had to abandon it. Okay, they were taking a loss trying to entice people by giving you a value that you did not take advantage of. So nobody can sit up there and be upset at what Xbox is doing because they tried, and the message that you gave them is that, you know what, we don't want value and stuff. Nothing you can do will make us buy your hardware. Nothing you can do is going to make us commit to your software. So they are doing what they have to do, because you didn't reward the good behavior that the company did do. And that's what I wanted to say. That's my mini little.
Yeah, I mean that's it's well said what you're saying. But remember, Microsoft was the only company that I'll mention it over and over again, and they literally, I believe, just stopped the program last month. Because I guess they're going to move forward with the next generation soon.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They offer Xbox All Access.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There's no fucking excuse, and I've been said it. Xbox All Access. You apply, 90% of the people are going to be approved because it's a small, like the Series X and S are not super expensive, right?
No, yeah.
So you're not going to get denied just like that. It doesn't, there was a $2,000, $3,000 machine. That's a different story. It's a $500 console and a $300 console. So you're going to get approved for one or the other, right? So all you have to do is apply, get approved, and you would have access to the console day and date. You get it right there and then. At that point, Best Buy's offered it, GameStop offered it, the Microsoft store directly to them offered it. Target offered it, where you got it, took it home, and you paid either $24 a month for the X, or $34 or $37, I think it was, for the Series X, right? And while you did that, you had Game Pass Ultimate for 2 years, so you had access to the online, the cloud gaming on the go. The Game Pass itself, right? Plus the second step authentication that comes with it as well to protect your account. And you only have to pay no interest for the 2 years.
Right.
And then once you were all done paying it off, that's it. You pay no interest. Now, if you didn't pay it off by the end of the 2 years, right, which I would find that highly unlikely when you're just paying $24 a month or $37, right? Then that's different. Then you would then you were liable to pay the actual interest if you didn't finish it off by then, right? Hello? You know what I mean? So again, no one else gave you this fucking freedom or these fucking options. Not Nintendo, not Sony,
No,
Not even
nobody.
P-
You
not-
gotta have your money up front when you buy their console.
right, not even PC, because even if you bought any
Yeah,
of those
same with
other,
PC. Yeah.
not like even if you bought any of those other three products, right? For example,
Hibot, are you there?
oh yeah, yeah. Even if you bought with a credit card, let's say any of the other products, you're automatically you're automatically going to have to pay the actual uh, interest. You get what I'm saying? Like no credit card company is going to allow you to take something in credit, no matter how small of pricing or value it is, right? They're
Right.
not supposed to do that without paying interest, especially if you're paying it monthly. So yeah, you could do it with a PlayStation, a PC, or a Nintendo, buying it with your credit card, but you would have to pay not only the interest, you would not get anything included, like let's say the Game Pass or the I mean the cloud gaming on the go is basic or online gaming that you would have to also pay separate on top of paying the interest. So it's not the same thing because I know people will be like, but you could just get it with your credit card. No, it's not the same thing because it had no interest. The whole thing about it is that you got Game Pass, you got the online that comes with it, you got the cloud gaming that comes with it, and you didn't have to pay interest the entire time. You see,
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest difference, and you can't tell me it's the same because it's not. So the fact that that had that option and nobody really
They
talked
wouldn't.
about it or tried
You
to
had
jump on it is
GameStop.
ridiculous.
GameStop wouldn't talk about it. Everybody was against what Xbox was doing because they were Xbox. So guess what? Now you don't have any place to go for value other than whatever game Xbox gives you. And that means that if you want to pay lower for games, and if you want to avoid $80 to $90, and it may be in with GTA 110 and 120 from what I'm hearing. I don't know how that's gonna go. Then you're gonna go on Game Pass. That's what you're gonna do, or
Mhm.
you're not gonna really play anything because that's nothing on Nintendo. Their games don't even drop in. They don't have sales on their games. It's very rare,
Mhm. Look,
extremely
the
rare.
only thing that Microsoft is doing that they need to do better, right? And for whatever the reason that they're doing it, they know the reason, but that they need to do better is basically not ignoring their fan base that appreciates and still likes to buy physical medium as far as the games, right? Because even with 90% of being people being digital, if you're at 43 million consoles or even 40, that means at least with that 10%, 3 to 5 million people still buy copies that are physical. And it's still $8 billion a year, right? According to them, with physical copies. So there's still a market for it. There's still people that appreciate it and want it because it's the real preservation of games. Digital is not real preservation. It's only on the disc. As long as it's on the disc, that you can have real preservation for any game on any platform. It doesn't
I
matter.
I think that's gonna have to come from third party. I don't think Xbox.
I
I don't.
know, I
You're
know,
not gonna
I
do
know,
it.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that if you want to complain about, like a legitimate complaint,
That's happening with all of them. Even Nintendo seem like they're
yeah,
being.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
hypocrisy is, even though Nintendo's doing it, they're still pushing the Nintendo products hard in places like a GameStop, right?
Hmm.
Because they're
Well, they're not
acting,
quite there yet.
yeah,
They
because
have
they're
to.
acting as if, oh no, that Nintendo, well, they can't. They have no choice when it comes to the physical medium because their online structure is garbage.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
don't have a
Yeah.
choice. They can't
Yeah.
really offer what Microsoft does, for example, on that level of quality, caliber, and also um, consumption of content, right? If that makes sense.
But Hibot, it's also on purpose, right? They have a captive audience. They like it that way. Look what they did to PayPal, or look what they did to Pal World, right?
Power World. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know it's on purpose. That's what absolutely. I know,
And they
but I'm
still
saying,
hurt Power World.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, why would you hurt a company that was doing well that just started just because they have elements that is similar to something that doesn't even belong to you? Because
Well,
mind you,
it,
Pokemon doesn't belong to Nintendo.
it doesn't even matter because what they did, this is the most egregious thing they did. They
Mhm.
retroactively put a
Mhm.
patent on something that the Power World devs made in their game, and then all of a sudden now Power has to remove it. This
Right,
happened
meaning
after
Power
they
did it
released the
first, and then they
game.
went and patented it. Right, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah.
you can do that, then no
That's
game is
dirty.
safe at that
That's
point.
dirty. That's real dirty. And you
Imagine if
know,
they patent something that Xbox did.
right? Mhm.
You know, like
If it
let's
would
say
have
you
been
did
Xbox, they would have been
Towerborn
closed
and
out. Oh,
patent. Oh, if
everybody
you
was talking about
swing the sword this way in
it. Mhm.
Towerborn, we're gonna sue you now. You have to remove it or you have to pay us and all this stuff. Imagine that after Towerborn's release.
Well, I mean,
Imagine if this is what Nintendo did to Power World.
Nintendo's arrogance has gotten so big is that they think that they're Disney of the video game space.
I want
No,
them to fall
That's what it is.
hard.
that's just again. They're just keep in mind they're Japanese, right?
I
They're
could care
Yeah,
less.
I can see that.
I'm tired of Americans in the West and everybody who's gaming
Defending,
kissing the
defending
butt
those
of
actions and
every
stuff. Yeah,
Japanese
yeah,
company out here. I mean, we need to put our foot down. I mean, I never thought that gamers would sit up there and suck up to a company just because they Japanese.
yeah.
They
yeah.
almost
Well,
disgust. They
Dea,
almost
you know where
disgusting,
that
man, to me.
mindset comes from, Dea? You know where that mindset comes from? It's because for some odd reason, I don't know why, but for some odd reason, most, especially now in this generation, these people think that it was Japan that made gaming big.
It was America.
Right. And they don't know that. They don't realize that it was not Japan.
No,
Yes, gaming was pretty big in Japan early on, right? What I can't, but it was America that made it big and mainstream.
yes,
Not only with, the arcades, with
yep,
machines like Pong, but
yes,
also with Atari,
yes,
right?
and Atari, exactly.
Atari
Yeah,
blew up, and that was in the late 70s. Or
yeah,
no, early
yeah,
70s, no, late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we had several iterations. We had ColecoVision,
Yeah, yeah,
television,
yeah, yeah.
all types, right? Of things that were uh, in the video game space, and even the RPG, as me and Sega Forever talked about many years ago, that it all came from the paper and pen D&D,
Yes,
right?
yes, it did.
RPG.
Yes,
Then
it
they
did.
just relabeled it and made it digital and called it the JRPG for
Yep,
Japanese
yep,
RPG role playing game.
yep.
But the popularity came from D&D,
Yes, it did.
right?
You're right.
And
Right.
these
Yeah.
people don't understand that everything that stemmed in the video game market was not big. It did not become big with Japan first. It was
No,
America.
it was America. Yep,
Yes, it was America. Now,
yep.
when it finally came back, because Nintendo lied their asses off to places like the distributors like Child World, the companies like Child World, Two Guys at that time, right? Circuit City, Walmart, all these places, right? Toys R Us, back then in the 80s, right? When they came out, they said that the Nintendo Entertainment System was a
Was
toy,
a toy. Yeah, yeah.
not a video game console, a toy, because after the crash, nobody wanted to pick up any type of video game products whatsoever. Right?
I mean,
But they
that
lost.
was, if we're being honest, that was really smart, and that was just Japan of the '80s.
Absolutely. It was absolutely.
They did it with the car companies. They did all that stuff, right?
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. What I have a
That,
problem
that,
is
that
the
was
revisionist history that people are doing, because this is why I fight so hard for Microsoft to have a presence here. I do not want to see the gaming market without an American presence in it.
absolutely.
I've been honest about it.
Okay. And
Okay.
listen, if Microsoft did not exist, Gaia, like you just said, right?
Yep.
This gaming industry will falter, I would say, in less than 3 years.
Agreed with that.
It will falter because look how far behind even companies like Sega that used to innovate. Look how far behind they are with games as far as the structure, quality, technology, like Yakuza, right?
Yeah.
And like when Shenmue came out, that was way ahead of his time.
It was at
Right?
the time.
We were
Yes, it
we were
was.
talking about that earlier. That
Yeah.
broke.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Yakuza just feels like an updated version of
Yeah,
Shenmue.
thank
You see what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
it does. Yep,
It doesn't
does.
feel like the next evolution of Shenmue. No,
Yeah,
it
no.
feels like a updated
Yeah,
version
update. Yeah.
of what Shenmue
'Cause
was,
it
right?
feels dated still.
Right, very dated in
Yeah.
structure, right?
But
In
that's,
structure.
but that's why, like, you see, Sega has such a close relationship with Microsoft.
Oh yeah, for
And,
sure.
and they're
But
pushing
but
forward
but
both Xbox and Microsoft because they don't have that ability. I tell people this all the time.
all the time.
The things that innovation and stuff like that. This is why I always say China's a paper tiger. A lot of these people, like the president just went to Saudi Arabia. Why are we making deals with us? Because the innovation and the cutting edge and
Yes,
everything
they're
that we do here
innovating
comes
over
from
there.
us. It
Yes,
comes
yes.
from
They're
America.
more in
So
line
if
with America. Yeah.
yeah, so if Microsoft does go away, like you said, right? I mean,
Well,
because nobody
brother, let's keep it. My brother, my
nobody pushes the envelope. Nobody is able to do the tech because it's a risk reward
It
thing
is.
that
It
is
is.
unique to our
but my
culture.
brother, let's keep it 100 because you and I, we've been Sega's fans since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I believe Daya, you were a Sega
Yes,
fan at
I
some point
was.
too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I've never owned a Nintendo. So yeah,
right,
how much
right.
of a fan I was. I
That
always
that
thought that.
that's how you know that
Yeah.
you're a actual real gamer because most girls are just I like Mario. That's
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
I never
It's,
got into it until
and that's like
hardcore
commonplace,
gaming
right?
Sega because it
That's as
felt so much
casual
like
as
the
it
arcade.
comes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's as casual as they come. Oh, I just like Mario. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
But to get to the point, Sega, what I don't like what they do is that they're basically taking advantage because they'll use Microsoft for their advantage,
Yeah. Thank
right?
you for saying
But
that.
when they have to actually show them respect, they don't do that
Yeah, they try
because
to play both
Okay,
sides.
okay. Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest, because I talk about this all the time on this channel, dude. That's also on Microsoft. You know how much times
yeah,
I
it
read
is.
about them going nuclear,
It is.
and
It
one
is.
of the reasons why the gaming industry is the way it is because Microsoft
They
won't
let people abuse
That's
them. Yeah.
true. That's
well, they
true.
just
Yeah.
they should be end all and be all, right? So like a
Mhm.
lot of times that's why I get upset with Phil because Phil talks about these things about inclusiveness and
Yeah,
Mhm,
equity.
mhm.
If you want to do that, you guys have to take the lead. You have to go to Satya and say, look, we need to buy everything, we need to buy everybody, and we need to move forward because if we this is why they get the blowback, right? Like, in fact, I think I was telling you just about. I wish that Microsoft would have blamed Trump for the tariffs.
Right.
There's an article that came out. I shared it with Hebot, right? Microsoft saying it's not the tariffs, right? And Sony was saying it's not the tariffs, but Sony's thinking about bringing it. They're looking at coming to America to build their PlayStations now,
Mhm.
Yes,
right?
I
So
heard
Which
that.
is what
Yeah, I heard that.
Microsoft should be doing.
yeah. So for me, I'm
Absolutely.
looking at that like this is why
That's
you
why
guys should have
Trump
took
is.
the lead. You guys
That's
should have been the lead because then if you
yeah.
took the lead, we wouldn't be having these problems, right? And you guys always get the blowback, so that's tiring for me because I'm an Xbox consumer and a fan, right? And a fan and a consumer, right? But then I have to deal with that on the flip side. That's why it's just me. Like Unlimited says, just play your games. That's all I've been doing. Just play your games. Everything's fine. You stay away from all the culture stuff. But
Yeah,
the problem is that gaming has a culture.
it
And
does. Yeah.
Microsoft is not. They're losing their culture. They're losing their identity. They're losing their brand. And I feel bad because until when it starts affecting the brand, that's when they're going to pay attention. And by that time, it could be too late.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the only thing that gets me. I'm like, dude, we wouldn't be dealing with half this stuff if you guys just would have went ahead and take the lead. Because they wouldn't do the things that a lot of people accuse them of, right? Because they've been accused of they're gonna money hack this, money hack that. Nintendo does it, Sony does it. Nobody
And
talks
no,
about
and nobody talks about it, right?
yeah, but as soon as Microsoft is a rumbling, like we're going to talk
Yeah,
about it today on the podcast, because
I
I want to
agree
talk
with
about them
everything
getting
you're
Sega.
saying. Yeah, I
Yeah,
I
but
think Microsoft just doesn't want to do it. Not under Phil, it doesn't. Phil
yeah,
doesn't want to be in it. I think Microsoft is comfortable being the big dog, but taking the back seat and letting somebody else pretend to
That
be.
also came from the Xbox One. I think the Xbox One damaged them so
I
badly
agree. I
that they
agree.
think that they're just scared that if they do things aggressively, right,
Yeah.
the way they have every right to, right, because they're the only ones moving things forward, the only ones protecting the industry, developers. Look, and I'll get to that point. Look at what for an example like the Moon Studio with their situation right now, right? Hold on, I'll get to that.
Oh,
But
I didn't hear about that. So
I'll get to that right now in a minute. But give me a second.
yeah,
And the thing is that I think that the 2013 experience damaged them so much that they're just scared. And they're just like, well, we're making money. That's all we gotta keep doing. Just keep
yeah,
doing
they
what we're doing,
scared,
and that's it. And just who
and
cares if
that's
we get
not
blowback?
good. Yeah,
Because
they
if you notice, Phil doesn't even talk anymore. He doesn't even
Uh,
talk anymore.
Yeah, he
Now,
had him run him off of the social media, and now didn't they stop having the fan fest stuff too? So they don't
yeah,
even
well,
do
I
that
think
anymore.
it's that though. I think it's because they feel like, why should we do these things if we're still getting blowback for everything?
Well, that's
So,
and then again that goes back to my point though. Then take then seize it and take
mhm,
it, right?
mhm,
Because these people are gonna hate you anyway. Right?
mhm.
It doesn't matter what you do. There's detractors out there, right? And I
Just
don't
be you.
understand why people don't get
Yes.
that. You
Yeah,
know,
just like PlayStation. That PlayStation, no matter what, they still do what they do. That's it. They don't care. They don't care if the fans like it. They don't care if the haters like it. They just do them, and
In
that's why
my
that perception is so high,
in my
even though they're
opinion,
doing terrible. Huh?
if Microsoft doesn't, if they that terrified, then they need to leave the industry. Because what
Right,
we
right.
need here, we need somebody who's bold enough to lead the industry in the right direction and not leave it up to these Japanese companies that are so self-centered that they're actually harming the
I think
industry.
Phil tries way too hard to establish that relationship, but they don't want it.
No,
It's-
I mean,
just
who
mess with the
says that?
people. I would say mess with the people that want to mess with you.
That's it.
That's
Why
it.
do you care
Like,
about somebody else?
but some of the people are pricks too. Let's be honest.
yeah, that's true. But forever. Let come on. I could set examples. You know I pay attention.
Yeah.
Tomonobu Irikaki, did he not say, I want to go back and do something with Xbox? He said this multiple times after 2013. He's a freelancer. He had his own studio at Valhalla Studios. They could have bought him and he would have said yes. And you know he's a master of action games.
He
They
is,
didn't
but
do it.
there's
They didn't do it. And you know why they didn't do it? Because
There's stories out
Tomonobu,
There's stories out
Tomonobu is, they didn't
There's
do it
stories
because
out there that 1 second. There's stories out there that dude has skeletons in his closet. That's the rumor.
Oh, okay.
that what? The stories out there that what happened?
Yeah,
He
skeletons.
got
in his closet.
skeletons in his closet.
That's the rumor.
Yeah, but that's not Microsoft's business.
No, but see,
Their business is for him to make games for them. That's it.
No, but Microsoft, dude, every little thing they do, man, Microsoft gets jumped on.
I know. They try to play the Kumbaya road. I know. That's what we were talking about.
If some of this stuff is true that they're saying about it, Microsoft, the way they are, we know how Microsoft is as a company, right?
You know, but then again, look, they also had the opportunity where what happened, where Armature Studios, the guys who did Recore and Metroid Prime,
Yeah.
he said clear as day, I want to do a sequel to Recore. Right? I want to do a sequel. Why not? If Recore was a great foundation for a new IP. They're acting like Recore doesn't exist, like Jewel doesn't exist when she's a fantastic character.
Yeah,
Right?
that's an awesome.
And a fantastic fundamental of a world and a game. Why not give them the opportunity? Why not buy them? They wanted to be part of Xbox. What they did, they sat back, and I believe Tencent picked them up. Right?
Well, I heard that they
Huh?
voted for Trump, so
You're so stupid. Come on, I'm trying to be serious here. Stop it. And then what is another example? Okay, Hideki Kamiya. The man's been begging them for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Let me come back, please. I'll do whatever I can. I promise to finish Scalebound. Dude, let bygones be bygones. Don't you say that you want to make relations with people, that you forget people. You could suck Sony's ball sack. Excuse my language there. No disrespect to you. You can suck Sony's ball sack. That Sony, if they had the opportunity and the money,
They
you
would've
guys
did
wouldn't
that.
be here.
Yes.
You wouldn't be here because they would have buried you alive years ago.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Without a second chance, without a second hesitation. They wouldn't give two fucks, right? So you can suck Sony's ball sack, right? But you can allow this man to come back, right? Buy them off, make a fucking deal. Like, tell them, listen, okay,
That's what I'm saying.
you're going to make Scalebound, but guess what?
use
We're going to buy you, your company, which is Platinum Games, and we're going to own you and Scalebound. That's the only way you can do it. You want to make a deal? Let's go. You agree? And I guarantee you, because they would have saw that big fat check, guarantee you they would accept it.
Man, I
Okay.
can't see Microsoft doing anything gangster like that, dude.
So what happened? So what happened, Daya?
They won't.
What happened, Daya? What happened, Daya? Kamaya left,
He left.
He left Platinum Games, and now he went back to where he started with Capcom. And what's he doing now? A remake of Okami, which is going to do well, and he's going to do a remake of Devil May Cry 1, which you know is going to do well, right?
He was sitting up there with some people reminiscing over Scalebound. This guy, I think, before he leaves this,
Yeah, he did. He did streams, and he started crying.
Yes,
in the
still
stream
wants to
begging
do it.
Microsoft to give him a chance, that he was sorry
Right.
and he
Yep.
takes full responsibility. And even the actual CEO of Platinum said the same thing. We are so,
Sorry.
like we're sorry that Microsoft took all the blame, and when they should have not took the blame,
Yeah.
right? So that means they did their part. They took the blame.
I will say
Aren't they Oriental, Asian? Aren't they Japanese? And all the mixtures together? Don't you say you want to establish? What other message can you give showing that, yes, we're serious about the Japanese gaming and the console? If they would have bought Armature, if they would have bought Kamaya, and Platinum Games, if they would have bought Valhalla with Tobunonku, on top of having Tango for that little bit of time that they did. That's 4 Japanese top dog studios. If they would have owned them, no one would have had such shit. Right now, no one would have dared to say anything, because those are the top 4 action developers in the industry when it comes to actual action games.
okay.
No one can touch them.
I
You
wanna
get From
ask this.
Software, forget. I'm sorry. They're overrated. All they do is from Souls games. They don't do their good shit like they used to anymore. Even though they did do the recent Rubicon, the Armored Core 7 Rubicon, excellent game. They went back to their roots, but they haven't got back to their roots when it comes to action like they did with Ninja Blade or Otage 1 and 2. Those were masterpieces, okay? They haven't done that. Who said they should do an Otage 3, bring it to Xbox exclusive like they've done with Sony, doing stupid exclusive with them when their fucking games suck?
Well,
But they haven't.
here's why I want to interject though.
Go ahead.
On Microsoft, to be fair to them, they did work with Platinum to make Ninja Gaiden, and that's
But that's because of these people are involved too. That's why.
yes, but I think that
What's the name of
it takes that step for Microsoft to trust them.
that baby step? Right. I got you.
think it's not fair for us.
I got you.
To just trust Platinum after how they got horribly burned by that studio, and I think that the fact that they took that step is a good direction for Microsoft.
I'll be honest, I think they took that step. I think they took that step because Kamaya's not there no more.
Right, and I think maybe he probably didn't feel as comfortable working with Kamaya. Maybe he might, because Kamaya is working with Capcom. We don't know, but I think you needed an intermediary in between them and Platinum to kind of say, look, we're going to help you check them and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. We're gonna make sure, right? So I think Microsoft needed that assurance, because I think they were nervous about that, because they lost their money. That's not happening no more.
Hell no. They lost. They lost $100 million with Platinum Games.
A lot for the time. That was a lot of money.
And they didn't just lose it. They didn't just lose it.
They lost it. They broke a contract.
Yeah, they didn't just lose it. Right, exactly. They didn't just lose it by development costs. No, those motherfuckers, they went and finished Star Fox Zero, the Ninja Turtle game for Nickelodeon, the Transformers Devastation for Nickelodeon, the Nier Automata, Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, so all of this stuff could be a moot point just for the simple fact that this is Microsoft proper you're talking about now, because Microsoft is the one who signs the checks, right? So all of this stuff is a moot point at that, because Microsoft will not do that. Microsoft will not work with you if you do stuff like that.
That's true, because they're very much business minded, and in the business world, you break contracts, nobody will work with you again. That's just the fact. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how good you think you are. If you break a contract, nobody's going to do business with you.
I'm gonna address the chat real quick because Unlimited's in here.
Okay. Oh, hi, Unlimited, and let's say hi to Unlimited Production. And, Faded Blaze is here. Mr. Kima is here, and Vontae is here. Welcome, you guys.
Oh, did you want to read the comments?
Sure. I can read them out for you.
Yeah.
Are you starting here, or you starting?
We can take turns if you want to. I can read them and she can read them. I can take turns. It's fine.
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
Unlimited Production at 8:29.
8:29.
So 29. Sorry. I know where our difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. My bad.
Okay. All right. He says here, people spent all last generation complaining about Xbox getting Japanese games. Phil got Japanese games, and people are still whining.
Yep.
It's true. That is true. I think what he about is saying, though, he wants that in house where they control it, where they
full control. Yeah, I think it would have been completely different.
Yeah. So I think that's what he was saying. But I definitely understand what you're saying. But they do need and even Phil has admitted this, that they
Oh no,
need
when I limit is saying it's facts. It's an
Yeah,
absolute fact.
yeah.
It's an absolute fact.
Yeah, but even Phil has said that they need even more presence in Japan. But what they're doing is they're using partnerships to do it rather than own. But I would love to see them own some. That's just me.
Yeah, me and Sega forever been wanting for them to fucking get Sega because they got Sega to actually fix him. They can fix it because they have money.
Yeah.
But Sega's new owner, he's full Japanese. He don't give a fuck.
Okay, you want to read the next one?
Platinum apologized years later after all the heat died down. I don't feel bad for Kamaya or any of them. I still think Xbox should buy them just for the chaos.
Unlimited got a wicked side, I see.
Unlimited, that's evil, but I completely like the idea. Absolutely.
Unlimited is 100% correct.
Wow. Okay. Well, I agree. So
yeah, because imagine if they did. You know the whining and the fucking meltdown there would be. What do you mean, Microsoft? No.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been enjoying every minute of it.
Yes, exactly.
I would. I would.
100%. Yeah.
All right. I want to. I'm gonna read Fader's little comment, and then I'm gonna go straight into Mr. Kimo. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Fader said, "What's up? What's up, Fader Blaze?" And Mr. Kima says, if Microsoft had acquired those Japanese companies, those companies would have took the money and ran like Tango Gameworks did. Interesting. Well, I actually agree with that.
Let me say something to Mr. Kimo, right? And by the way, big shout outs to Mr. Kimo because you have been a completely wonderful supporter of all of us and everybody in the Xbox community.
Yes.
And I don't know, and I feel like not enough people give him credit because he goes to everybody, not just us.
Yeah.
And you know,
always dropping knowledge.
You always give us that love, that respect, and just that you took the time to be here shows that you care, right?
Yeah.
So for that, completely big shout outs to you. Thank you and a salute to you. Now, the difference with Tango Gameworks, though, Mr. Kima, is their own owner, their leader, right? He turned their back on them. And they lost and got disparaged. They lost confidence. And that's what they were talking about. Because what happened is, I forget his name. Oh, my God. It was in the tip of my tongue. He came out and said, I'm going to retire. I don't know if you guys remember, including you.
I remember that.
He goes, I'm going to retire. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. It's been a fantastic run. And I feel confident that my team at Tango can continue forward with other wonderful and future projects, right? Us not knowing that they were not happy with him doing that, right? So then he goes and retires. Month and two goes by, and I think on month 3, he comes out of nowhere and says, "Oh, by the way, guys, I'm back. I opened up a brand new studio of my own, and we're going to be making new projects." And then he goes and takes
that a year before. He was working on that a year before,
right? Which that's not something you do in 3 months. Obviously, he already had the idea. So what he did was he took the cash that Microsoft got him through Cinemax, right? Because they were owned by Cinemax, and took it and ran with it. That's what he did, right? So he basically did a typical old school Japanese move with Microsoft. They used them, abused them, bent them over with no Vaseline, and then took off, right? That's what they basically did. He did. And then he goes and takes, I think, a nice amount of the workers from Tango and left the ones that didn't want to come, right? Because they were comfortable with Microsoft, right? And so then everybody was expecting, Tango Gameworks that's the truth, they're gonna be fine. No, Zenimax himself said that the internal feel of Tango, the disparage that they had was that they were not feeling the same anymore. They had the confidence because a lot of the key people were not there. They left. They basically left them to dry. It's like me and Sega Man talk about that. Even the closest people that we know, if we was in a war, they would probably be the first one to backstab us just so that they can make sure that they don't get hurt by the bad guy or the other side, right? And that's bad, right? That's really bad when you think about it. And then what happened? They come out and said, well, let's put Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation and see if it picks up some numbers to see if it does better to help Tango GameWorks, right? And we saw they didn't buy the shit. It had 2.4 million players on Xbox, and I believe is because most people played on Game Pass. Me and Unlimited and Sega Fan, right, or Sega Forever, we bought the game, right?
No,
Even though we played it.
I was waiting for the collector's edition.
Right. Plus, we were waiting for a physical to come out as well. But we bought the game either way, right?
Yeah,
Most guys don't do that.
I don't think that physical is going to happen, bro.
Well, it's limited run. They're still supposed to be doing. Hold on, mommy. They're still supposed to be doing it. But I know what you're saying. It feels like it's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
And what happened? It came out on PlayStation. No one bought it. You know, Mr. Kima, you were up to date with what's going on. They didn't fucking buy it. The only game that did well was Sea of Thieves, and now Forza and Indiana Jones supposedly did good numbers as well. Well, Forza sold 1.3 million or some shit like that, which is good, but not in the bracket of Xbox. Because you know when Forza came out for the Xbox, on I think even on the the early edition, I think before it came out on Game Pass with the early access, it was 10 million players already playing it. So it did well, like way over those numbers on Xbox. Anyway, that's neither here or there. But that's why ZeniMax themselves, since they're being treated like a separate entity, even though they're owned by Xbox, made the decision to sell with the agreement of Xbox and Microsoft TangoWorks to that other company that just bought them. So they didn't have to close them down, so that they can keep doing smaller projects that they don't spend a lot of money on, but still can, stay open as a developer, right? Because it's not a bigger risk. For Microsoft, it's a bigger risk because they have to concentrate on those bigger, much more high quality companies and developers, right? For example, that are doing bigger projects, right? Because that's their bread and butter. They have to provide big projects and big AAAs first, even though they want to do smaller projects like Matt Booty said. So that's why I don't say that it would be the same thing like Tango, for example. But I do agree with you that the likelihood that something like that could have happened is at least 50-50 for sure. Like if they would have bought Platinum, they probably could have been dirty in the sun like that. If they would have bought, Armature Studio, maybe the only one I would say 100% would have never happened with is definitely Tobunobu Itagaki with Valhalla Games. I don't think he would have left at all because he loves Microsoft. He's always loved Microsoft. He's always been verbal and always said it and never changed his mind. He's been a Microsoft proponent for years, which is surprising to me that Phil, talking how much he loved Ninja Gaiden, how he didn't even bother to pick him up. Because right now, had Tobunobu been part of Xbox, for example, had they bought Valhalla Games, that new Ninja Gaiden, that Phil is the one that convinced them to put up the money because they're the ones funding it, they would have convinced them to do it, and Tobunobu could have been part with Valhalla of the new project, especially if Microsoft owned them and went and bought them the way he wanted to be. Because I have the receipts showing where he wanted to be bought, and he wanted to go back to Xbox, and that was in 2019, I think it was, that he said it, or 2020. Wasn't that long ago. It was like 5 years ago, right? So again,
here's the problem, right?
Go ahead, bro.
I think it's his personality is what it is.
Yeah, he's too much of a hardcore comparing, and toxic, so to speak, in comparison to others.
Yeah, I don't think Phil them and Microsoft them want to work with people like that anymore.
But that's terrible, brother. That's terrible.
I personally don't have a problem with that, right?
Right.
I mean, we're old school, but that's the direction. If you look at the deals that Microsoft makes and the people they bring on board, some of the people that they work with, man, they're very controversial.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But they're controversial on certain things that you can tell Microsoft doesn't have a problem with.
For more of the political representation stuff. That's
or even ideology, right? But
ideology as well, yeah. Right?
If it's something that they don't agree with, then you see those. And I'm not saying that's the case with everybody. But in the case of who you're talking about,
yeah. They're trying to play the which is, they know it's not the same environment anymore. After Biden got out and Trump came in, they know it's no longer the same environment. That's why they won the ID, what's it called, the case for Call of Duty. They looked at that shit like, no, this is ridiculous. This man, you win. That's why they won. That's why they won. And it's and crazy and hypocritical that they don't realize that they won because Trump is in office. It would have been Biden, they would have never won. It would have still been up in the air, so to speak. But they won because we're in a new different, hey, Vontae, how are you? He says, what's up? What happened today? She cut out?
She might have, maybe she had to go.
Oh, okay.
We lost her. Let me go on.
Right. I didn't hear that part. I'm so sorry, brother.
No, she didn't say anything. I think we might have lost connection.
Right. I hope so. I hope I didn't, I was too long-winded and she just left. I hope not.
No,
but anyway.
She's kind of like in the same boat as Unlimited. Like they got stuff to do.
Yeah, absolutely. She got a lot of family and stuff is good with her husband. And I remember she said it last time. Yeah.
Just real quick, Vontae, what's up, brother? What's up? And then
thank you for coming by, Vontae, for sure.
Okay,
Unlimited said, if you want me to read it, brother, I can read it.
Yeah, you know why? Because I got some dude hammering over here, so that's why I'm muting my mic.
No worries.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unlimited says, if I lost $100 million, all that money went to another game that slipped Xbox. There's no amount of apologies from me. The only option is sell to me or get out of my face. Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes, I agree. That's why I said Unlimited, if you heard me earlier, that they could have just done that deal, but put those cards down. Listen, you want to do it? Okay, but these are the circumstances and the conditions.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Sure. I try to keep it up as much as I can, brother. The conditions are these, right? We're going to own you, Platinum Games, right? And we're going to own your IP. You can only work for us. We'll tell you and let you know if you can bring a game multi-plat or not. And obviously, we all know with the way Microsoft is doing business now, it would have not been surprising if they would have brought a game that Platinum did for Xbox exclusively at the time to another platform later on, right?
Right.
Maybe not necessarily scale bound, but maybe a smaller project. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because look at Path of Exile, my love. Look at Path of Exile. Mm-hmm. Capcom did it, right? Because Microsoft fully funded it. He let everybody know at Germany in Cologne during Gamescom or GermanyCon. You know the con. What's the name of the con in Germany? That's their E3.
Gamescom,
Oh my God, Gamescom. Thank you.
Yeah.
I forget. I got to fart real quick in my head. That's the diabetes. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He said it in the interview. We were so happy to do a relationship with Capcom. They fully funded Path of Exile, which is a really wonderful little game.
Right.
That no one's talking about because it's on Xbox, on Game Pass, right? Because Xbox helped them make it. Even though it feels like Capcom, even though it has the Capcom flair, aesthetic, style, art style, everything, right? It's a tower defense with minimal tower defense, more action, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Amazing little game. Amazing. And a lot of people don't talk about it. I have to finish it myself. I'm not even talking like a hypocrite because I'm not a hypocrite. You know I'm not.
Right.
I got to beat it myself. I just haven't got it because there's so many fucking games.
I know. Heaven help you because the June showcase is soon, and then
absolutely, and that's going to be a whole bunch of other things that you're not going to expect. I'm pretty sure.
Do you guys care? Do you guys care that nobody? I don't care that nobody got invited. Do you guys care that anybody that they're just going to do it live? They're not going to do it with an audience. Do you guys care?
Yes and no. I don't care.
I don't care.
Go ahead. You answer first there. Go ahead. You answer.
Feel the same way you do. On personally, not really, because it's not going to affect what I see and how I feel about it and all that. But at the same time, I do like the audience because there's some remnants of how the E3 situation was, and I'm like, if you can't have the big E3 anymore, at least Microsoft can have those smaller venues where when they're showing their showcase, it's like a mini E3 and you can invite the fans and all that stuff. I think that's a good thing because it helps them get engagement too with the people who are invested in their ecosystem.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Would you rather have the crowd audience there or they save money and buy Sega? Or buy EA?
Oh, Sega there.
Right? That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I would rather have it.
I would accept that. Well, it's not my turn, so okay, go ahead, Dave. I'll say what
I answer. You go ahead and answer it. I'd rather them have Sega. What about you?
My turn. You're done, my love.
Yep.
Okay. First and foremost, I do and I don't. I do. I don't. No. Well, the reason why I don't is because I know no matter what, the impact of whatever they're going to do and show is going to still be there. You're going to have the impact. You're going to have the effect. If they do great announcements, great things that are unexpected, everybody's going to be happy and talking about it. Absolutely. 1,000%.
Are they going to be happy?
I mean, I know I would. I know you would. But maybe not as much as we would have maybe before, in the sense that we knew for a fact everything was going to be exclusive and we could brag about it, right? The way that everybody else does, right? Maybe not in that.
I'm tired of them, like, they have the audience and there's fans there, but they also like, bring in people that are not fans of Xbox.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think, I think like the Gamescom thing is good enough because you have an audience there that wants to go there.
Well, yeah, and you know that they also do the show in January now or February, right? They also show up a little bit. They kind of peek their head in the Game Awards, and they also do like another showcase or a small little show like in April.
They do Tokyo Game Show. They do
right, and the one in April too that they usually do, and they do Tokyo. So
that's the only company that does anything, and they just keep this in mind. They knew they were going to raise the price of their console.
They knew.
Right? So why would you have an audience there? Right?
Oh, you're talking about now from that perspective, yes, they don't need the abuse. They don't need that because people overreact.
When things are good, they get abuse. When they have everything, they have abuse. Anyway, I was gonna give biblical. I'm not gonna do that. It's like they're just ungrateful. It's like man.
I agree. A lot of the gamers are ungrateful.
Yeah, right. Ungrateful. So this is why, look, guys, people are coming at me like, well, you just support greedy corporations. No, I just hate ungrateful people.
Right.
We live in a generation of just ungrateful gamers.
Forever. Anybody? Okay. Because I have to finish the second part of that question you gave.
Yeah.
Anybody saying that Microsoft is just a greedy corporation is pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah. I wish
at this point. At this point, maybe before I could say, okay, maybe I could see how you could say that. But at this point, with all the changes, all the butt licking they've been doing, all the bending over, getting it in the booty hole without Vaseline that they've been doing, Microsoft's not a greedy company. I'm sorry. Not at this point. Yes, they're about making money. Absolutely. 1,000%. But greed in the same definition when it comes to gaming? Absolutely not. Now, Nintendo and Sony? Absolutely yes. But Microsoft? No. Mm-mm.
If they were to come on and tell me the only reason they kept Xbox around is to push their AI, I would be fine with that. I expect them to do that.
Things like that. Yeah.
Company, right? I expect you to make money, and in turn, you're doing that, and then I get benefit from that. Right?
But we are benefiting because they are giving us in return stuff that we.
Dude, I'm not your friend. I don't need you to be my friend. I don't need you to be my emotional support. What I need you to do, right, is to produce the stuff that I like.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I need from you.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, didn't Unlimited also say they have legal obligations to their shareholders?
1,000%.
To earn as much money, they can't just sit there and not earn anything. They have to earn the money for the shareholders. This is why they've been growing and all that, because they've been doing what they're supposed to do. So at the same time, people can't expect them to keep taking a loss on the console and all that when nobody else is doing it.
Absolutely.
The funny thing is that
and they still lose money,
but their stock price has gone up exponentially.
It has. It's crazy how
they're up there now. They're one of the top things, like to the point where when the tariffs and all this thing kicked in and stuff shifted, dude, people were talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
well, you gotta understand too. You gotta understand because of where they manufacture, they're still losing. They're the only company still losing on hardware exponentially, and they're also the ones that sell the leads. So it's like you pointed out, and like I pointed out. You said, Dea, why take a loss if it doesn't sell as much as, let's say, Sony?
Exactly.
Anyway, right?
It doesn't matter.
So if we're gonna sell less, let's sell at a profit.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? That's number one, which made complete sense, 100% when you said that.
In other words, the cost is not attracting nobody anyway.
Right,
So, at
because
that point,
because even if it was $300, they will find an excuse not to buy it
they
as
would
much
not
anymore.
buy it. So,
One
at
hundred
that
percent.
point,
That thing would
why
be
take them
99
off?
cents and they still
They
wouldn't.
still wouldn't buy it.
What's up that? If the Xbox was $99, I think everybody would buy it. But that's just me.
Not $99, bro. 99 cents. And
That's
if it was
99
You're
cents.
terrible.
99
You're
cents and
terrible.
they found $1, they still make an excuse not to buy it.
You are terrible. You are terrible.
I'm just being 100. I'm tired of it.
Listen. Well, it's like, okay. And this is no shade or no offense to people that know me that have Apple, right?
Mhm.
Because I get it. I get it. If you've been with Apple for a long time and you invested, it works in your benefit, right?
Mhm.
But Apple every year or every 2 years upgrade their phones, and all they do is minimalistic things with features, and then take out something important, like let's say the head jack, right? Which is another option, right?
Right.
Even though it's archaic, but it's still an option that is worth having for many reasons, right? If it, like, for example, if your Bluetooth stopped working, you can still use the head jack. You get what I'm saying? To give you an example. Meanwhile, you have all these other companies that do phones. Microsoft was one of them as well. With Android, which Android gives you all the freedom and all the bang for your buck for a fraction or half of the cost of what something that Apple provides. And yet Apple is still not being able to be stopped and still the number one leader in the mobile space,
Right.
which completely proves to you that people don't care about quality and what's best. They care about what's popular. And I've said this so many times. Oh, it's because it's better. No, motherfuckers. It's because it's popular. Tom's Diner, back in the day, the song was not a great song. But since it was catchy, everybody embraced it. Barbie
I
Girl,
think
same thing.
that was the point of the song.
Right. I'm a Barbie girl, same thing.
Yeah.
At that time, from Aqua, I'm a Barbie girl, a corny song, but it picked up. Everybody loved it, made millions. A more song that Justin Bieber might make may not be something like, let's say, Kendrick Lamar make, right? But people still embrace it. He'll still sell more just because it's Justin Bieber, right? You get what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to say is that's the reason why we are where we are right now. It's not because Nintendo's better. It's not because Sony's better. It's because they just like what's least attractive, even though it's because it's just more popular. That's it. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we're saying if Microsoft even had the console for $100 and Sega Forever's case it's 99 cents, which is probably right. They would probably give it out for free. And people will still not go get it in the store for free.
I
They,
get
they
it.
had
Yeah.
the best deal with that layaway thing that they did. And
That's
people
what I'm saying. Xbox All Access, right?
Yeah, Xbox All Access, and I'm just like, bro. By the time you're done paying this thing off, you're gonna have, because they get Game Pass too. They did
Right.
everything.
You get Game
Microsoft
Pass.
has done everything
They're gonna go tenfold back of
to make this console
Game Pass.
successful and to get people on board.
Yes,
And
they
people
have.
refuse. So when
Yep.
they dropped that hammer, I enjoyed every single minute of it. I drank all their tears. I was excited. I was happy. I'm like, hey, well, maybe you have to put that iPhone 16 on the side and actually pick up an Xbox if you're an Xbox guy.
Right,
Or
right,
if you're a
right.
gamer, quote unquote.
Or stop dick licking Nintendo and Sony and buying their products, right?
Right.
Over Xbox when they don't do nothing for you.
That's why, like, people are coming at me about this, right? And I'm like, look, bro, you see the name of my channel is Xbox All In, and my motto is I bleed green. I do not have a PlayStation. I don't have Nintendo. I don't have any of that. Everything I put my money in is to Xbox. Right? That's why it didn't bother me that they did that. Because number one, I already own 5 of their consoles.
Yeah.
Right? I'm already in ground floor. The stuff that's affecting you right now is because, like you guys said, you guys either sat and waited, or you guys are crying about it, and then Microsoft actually did something smart where they're like, "Oh, you know what? We're dropping South of Midnight, we dropped Avowed, we're dropping Towerborn, and we got Doom right around the corner.
Yeah.
Maybe we should raise the price of our stuff."
Plus Expedition 33, brother.
Expedition 33.
Oh, that's a big
Probably
one.
a game of the year contender there, and
Mhm.
they got it day one in Game Pass.
That's what I'm saying. So and you saw that they were smart because they didn't raise the Game Pass prices.
No.
They're like, okay, we're not going to raise Game Pass, but we'll raise these other things that they may need going forward or in the future for the console, right?
But
But we're not gonna raise Game Pass.
But they're also smart because they're like, And then when they try and hit them on that console price, he goes, well, if you have a PC, you can do that. Well, you know, you can play it mobile. We have you can play it on the cloud, right? They start doing this. They start throwing that. You know, this is what irks me about people because I'm like, look, dude, this stuff just doesn't come out of thin air. Like Microsoft just didn't sit there and say, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna piss a bunch of people off. And
Right.
Raise the price of our thing.
Right.
They have options for you guys to do it, and this is why I don't believe a lot of you guys are Xbox, right? Because you guys don't know about any of this kind of stuff. You don't know about the ecosystem, right? Because you don't own an Xbox, you don't play Xbox, you read some articles and then you talk about it because it gets you the most views from a bunch of hateful Sony ponies. That's the whole gist of it. Because we make stuff all the time about Xbox that can inform you guys, but we don't get the views for it. And I'm not complaining about the views. I'm just talking about the hypocrisy.
Right.
That's facts. That's facts. Now, real quick, to the second part of that answer or that question was, I think it's terrible in the sense that many real fans of the culture, being part of that experience, being there, right? Meeting the devs, not only opened up doors for a lot of more people other than IGNs, right? It also gives you the experience on a one-to-one basis in real life with these people that work hard in these companies and that are doing projects, right? Plus, it makes it easier for independent people up and coming to sell their games and pitch it in person to these developers or publishers that may not pay attention to them otherwise unless they're there one-on-one and can actually show them their product. The cosplaying, right? The collecting aspect of it, just the overall experience. It's part of culture that's dying when it comes to video games. So it's not bad enough that the gaming industry is kind of fading away in the traditional sense with physical more prevalent, you know, with more, collectibles being offered, right?
Right.
Now we're also losing the social aspect of it in person that is part of the culture that made it what it is.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for E3 or conventions of that sort or that nature, the gaming industry would have never grown to where it is.
You know, but you know whose fault that is, Hiba? That's
That's what I was going to say.
That's Sony and Nintendo's fault.
I know that, brother. I know that. But what I'm saying is, you asked me what is that I like and don't like, right? And that's what I said. It doesn't matter to me because I know the impact is still there. But what does bother me is now this other important premise of the culture that needs to be there so that it won't be taken for granted, right? So that people can see more live and direct how hard or how sophisticated it really is, right? Because people love talking, oh, that shit is good, and they have no idea, right? With something like a convention, it gives you a first-hand experience that you can see in person, talking with devs and talking to fan base of other countries, what you can and cannot do and what it is and how hard it is or how easy it is or how fun it is or how miserable it is, whatever the case may be. It's part of the culture, and you're 100% right. It is Nintendo and Sony's fault. But it's their fault because Nintendo and Sony have no money. They're broke in comparison to Microsoft. So they have to make these conservative decisions because if they don't, they wouldn't be even having success and putting money in their pocket now. Because if they keep spending money going there and how is Nintendo going to survive? Keep going to E3, all they got to show is maybe 1 or 2 games. That's all they do every year, or they were doing for a while, if you guys remember. Shit, didn't Sony go and only show 3 games, 1 E3? Which was the guy with the flu and 2 other ones. Remember that?
Yeah, flu guys.
So they try to make it into almost a carnival feel, like you went to the carnival to see these, or to a fun park to see Sony games in live form in order to be able to even present you an E3 because they only had 3 games to show. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They can't afford it, but that doesn't mean Microsoft can't afford it. Microsoft can afford it, and then some. They don't care.
Yeah, but that's my problem, right? Like Microsoft can't afford it, and Microsoft's been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah. This is how you know it changed, right? Because there's a lot of influencers I watch, not for gaming, but they're cross-pollinating and coming across the board. The only thing, what ended up happening was they started following Xbox because there was nothing else to do, nothing else to broadcast on their channel.
Right.
And when that happened,
Exactly.
Yeah, when that happened, it was funny because they were like, "Oh, like South of Midnight." That was one of the biggest ones. I'm not saying these people are gonna buy an Xbox or play the game, but they were like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know Xbox had games like this." Yeah, you don't know because you're not in
Hey, attention.
the
Yeah.
culture, right? And so this is why, again, right? I don't care because Microsoft has been doing this for 5 years, right? And people still, right?
Ungrateful.
They're ungrateful. And I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, if it was me, look, I'm petty and probably shouldn't be the head of $1 trillion company because I'm bad,
I
right?
wonder what that would be like for Sega Forever's company. I have to join just to see how that thing would go.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
crash and
So
burn.
funny.
The two things would happen: the company would crash and burn within a year, or I get shot. So one of the two, right?
By somebody, right?
Yes, because it just irritates me to no end, right? And again, I'm normally like emotional, but this is upsetting to me because they're ungrateful. Like Microsoft bent over backwards and did tumbles for you guys.
Right,
And,
right.
and what it ended up taking is them to actually be hard asses for a change, which I enjoy. Right? It took them doing that for you guys to be like, oh well, I guess we gotta get an Xbox. Dude, you should have had an Xbox. If
Yes.
you had an Xbox, you wouldn't have to worry about this price tag, unless your system broke. Right?
Right.
Unless you-
Anybody complaining about prices, it would make sense that why didn't you have an Xbox all this long anyway?
Yeah.
Because
And even
you
if
don't
my
feel
Xbox
that. You don't feel that with Xbox. You don't. You
Well,
just
even
don't.
if my Xbox broke, right? I'll just be honest with you guys, dude. I'm in the ecosystem, so I could just use Bing points
Okay.
to get one. You see, you feel me? Like that's the ecosystem, and I don't expect everybody to be in the ecosystem or understand it on that level. But you should have had an Xbox.
I agree. I think you should at least invest in it. I don't understand how you couldn't.
Well,
No.
for me, it just proves that there's more casuals in the industry than anything else.
Well, to me, it proves that there's no gamers. That's what it proves to
That's
me.
what I'm saying. Casual. There's no gamers. Like hardcore gamers.
I
No.
would be nice. There was a time I was nice. Oh, they're just casual. Now I look at these
Mhm.
clowns and I'm like, no, you're not even casual. You just
Mhm.
I did some of the stuff they put out there. I'm like, dude, and again, I keep bringing this up. Just look at their videos, look what's in the background, or look at what they talk about. I have no problem with you loving anime. I love anime, right?
Right.
Your
Mhm.
focus is on like a Solo Leveling or My Hero Academia.
Right.
That's
Solo
perfectly
level.
fine.
Yeah.
You have no idea what
The,
Xbox.
the anime scene, they're the same way. Sega Forever.
What's that?
Let's say they love anime, but they've only had like let's say Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, Pokemon, and that's it.
Yeah. The
Me and you,
mainstream titles
we're
there.
anime enthusiasts.
Yeah.
We watch
Yeah.
all types of anime since the
Yes.
beginning. I mean, we watch everything from Astro Boy, Transor Z,
Yeah.
Go 13,
Yeah. I
Then-
watched all that stuff. Yeah.
Desert Punk, Evangelion,
Yeah.
Bubblegum Crisis, Appleseed,
Yeah. Yeah.
Fist of the North Star,
You know what?
Vampire Hunter D, Sword of the Berserk, one of the greatest enemies of all time, Sword of the Berserk.
But
Yeah.
you know what
Fucking-
anime has? You know what anime has over gaming, right?
What's
Is it's
that?
still niche. Right?
It
Yeah,
is.
very niche. Yeah. In that sense, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you will find the most hardcore people in anime. People that just come into anime just like 2 years ago will turn hardcore because it's still niche. The problem with gaming is it's popular, right? Like there's benefits to being popular, like your industry blows up and you
Yeah.
become popular,
More
but the
investments in
flip
it.
side.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Theo. Go ahead.
Yeah, but gaming is popular for the wrong reasons.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
Gaming has become popular because most people think it's a money grab, that you can make money off of it. That's it. That's really why you think so many people have been now investing on PCs. A lot of this younger audience, they're only investing on PCs because they want to go and stream, because they see the ninjas of the world and the Mr. Beast from the world. They want to become millionaires doing something that they think is fun and cool, like playing video games. That's why you see a bunch of girls half naked, don't know shit about the industry or the history. Talk about I play games because they're playing the brand new Doom and their titties are hanging out with practically their whole nipples showing. Right?
But you know what?
It's
hello?
not one of them titles that most girls would even play. It just,
Yeah, exactly. So it's unrealistic.
No, but just to be, I'm just gonna be honest about that, right? That's what they do, right? I'm talking about like your Angry Joes. I'm talking about that Dreamcast guy, right? Those dudes who purport to
Forge, yeah.
when I put on
MBG.
when I put on somebody's video, and I can tell right from the jump what you expect, but they don't make no qualms about it, right? They're not out there purporting themselves to understand or talking about topics that's way beyond their thing, right? They're doing something because it's popular. Most of them do it because their fans are saying, "Hey, you should play this game."
Yeah, they get suggestions from their
Yeah.
fans too. Yeah.
That I can perfectly understand. Now, if you purport yourself to be a Dreamcast fan, so much so that you have Dreamcast in your name, and you can't tell me anything about Dreamcast or Sega, right? You should change your name. I'm just being 100.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
I'm-
almost an affront for him to take on the Dreamcast name. I'm like, why?
I don't even know how that man still even gets views. I really don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's so fake. It's unbearable. I mean, even Spawn Wave is terrible, but not as bad.
Terrible too. Yeah, he ain't.
I'm like, oh my Jesus Christ.
As bad as MBG's takes are, at least
Oh,
he has,
MBG's, yeah, exactly. He's another
at
one.
least he
Though.
can put out stock stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But he's another one because he started as an
Matty
Xbox.
Plays is another one. He
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not listen to Mr. Matty Plays.
Oh, I can't stand Matty Plays.
can't
He's so,
stand him
oh
either,
God. He gives me a headache. I'm like, this dude is all about the bag. All he wants to do is make sure that he's in the end, the now, the hip. He has FOMO effect all over him. I cannot stand him because that's not gaming. That's not gaming.
You know, the funny part is like I couldn't stand Paris Lily. And I was like, there can't be anybody worse than Paris Lily. And then Matty Plays just comes into the picture.
Oh man, Matty Plays,
yeah.
He made me appreciate Paris. I'm like,
yeah. But you know, Paris is not as bad, but his boy, Danny, he really is worse. He came at me because I told him, I was like, why didn't you ask Phil about other things instead of worrying about the Nintendo Switch with their prices? Because he tried to make a comment about the prices of the Xbox. I'm like, but you were touting Nintendo Switch too. The entire time you were asking for Phil, you excited? What do you think? Are you going to get one? Are you excited? Like, what the? Bro.
Yeah.
And you call yourself an Xbox guy?
Make them cry. I'm at that point.
So he cursed at me in public, and then I said, "Oh, real professional, typical." So I beat you in the conversation. So you come to argue, and you have to curse at me. You don't even know me. How adult and mature that is, and yet you call yourself a professional. Adults speak. You know that, right? Without cursing, without offending each other. You do know that that's a real adult conversation. He got mad, blocked me, and Paris went along with it too. But I don't give a fuck. The point is, they're all fake, like you said. And
real quick, shout out to King J79. Welcome, brother.
Hey, King.
Yes, sir.
I'll allow you to be in my comment section, even though you have that hideous Raider. I just joking, King, dude. I'm from Hawaii, and all my family are Raider fans. I'm the only Steeler fan in the whole family.
It's all for fun.
Every year. Yeah.
It's all for fun.
Every time the Immaculate Reception comes on video, it's a conversation to be had. Just saying.
Well, look, I want to bring up real quick before I forget, if you allow me, brother.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Remember what I was saying? I was going to get back to about Moon Studios, right?
Oh, yeah.
Moon Studios made a deal with Microsoft, right? So this just shows you that it's not just Japanese companies. The conversation and the deal was, you're going to make Ori and the Blind Forest, and it's going to be an exclusive lifetime, right? For Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. And they funded it. The game did extremely well. Then they said, okay, you can put it on PC. We'll allow you to make more money. It made money on PC. And then what happened is, and keep in mind, Moon Studio is the first actual studio that started doing development through remote development before COVID. Right? They were in different parts of the world, and they were one team, and they did it remotely. And Microsoft kept funding all the stuff and kept helping them with Ori and pushing it with merchandising and all types of stuff. Then when they saw that the community of Nintendo and Sony kept saying, can we put the game? Can you put it on PlayStation? Can you put it on Nintendo? Are you bringing it on Nintendo? Are you bringing it on PlayStation? This game looks like a Nintendo game. This game looks like it belongs to PlayStation. Boop. They went and told Phil, hey, Phil, can we bring it over? They did that during the duration of the development of Ori 2. So what happened? Microsoft said, sure, no problem. But the caveat was, your next game, we're not going to publish. We're not going to fund. You got to do that on your own. And so what happened? It came out on Nintendo. It came out on PlayStation. I don't know if part 2 did, but I know part 1 did. And I think, and I believe, the game didn't do well on either platform. It did so. When we all know that on PC and on Xbox, it did very, very well. It sold a lot of copies, right?
Yes, Yeah.
and did extremely well. The same thing like Cuphead, but more Moon Studios to get to my point.
That's how I own those games, not on the Xbox. I own them on PC.
Right.
Yep.
I absolutely. And then Moon, once Microsoft did that, then they were going to different places and outlets, giving them interviews talking about, that they might not be able to make Ori 3 ever because Microsoft doesn't want to publish their third game, making it seem as if Microsoft was ungrateful and were the bad guys, when they're the ones that gave them all the freedom in the world to bring their project to life and paid for the entire thing, from marketing, from production, from what you call that, merchandising, all types of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they kept and went on their own. Now they're making that new game, Lost for the Wicked, I think it's called.
Yeah, something like that. No rest for the wicked.
No Rest for the Wicked. They've been working on it for a long time. The game looks great. Yeah, it does. But they're not having any luck with a publisher. So they're trying to bring it out. Now they put it on early access on PC. So now they're dog walking people, not only on the PC, but on the console space, right? Trying to say that it's not worth doing stuff because gamers nowadays don't buy games. I was like, that's a lie. Because when you were on Xbox, they bought your game. So did the PC. So did the PC community.
I own both.
You betrayed a contract, made a promise that would be a lifetime exclusive, but then you got too big for your britches because you saw how everybody was sucking on Ori. When the reality is that Nintendo fans and PlayStation fans couldn't stand that Microsoft had the best platformer in a long time.
Yeah, and it was
that's what they couldn't stand.
It wasn't no Mario clone,
right? That was not Mario, or that was not Jackson Dexter, or let's say Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. They couldn't stand that, and since they couldn't stand that, they try to act like, but we want to play it so badly over here. If you really want to play, you would have bought an Xbox.
Yeah,
as simple as that. The same way you tell people, if you want to play Mario World or Odyssey, you got to get a Nintendo. Isn't that what they say?
That's what.
So what's the difference? What is the difference? What is the difference if Xbox owned the IP and the studio chose not to be bought, and they still gave them the creative independence freedom to make the game 1 and 2 fully funded? And why wasn't the same logic there? Why wasn't the same energy and thought process there? That tells you that it's bullshit. Clear as day. Because if we could, like you said, buy a Nintendo if you want to play Mario Odyssey. Okay, buy an Xbox if you want to play Ori and the Blind Forest. It's that simple. Or if you have a PC, play it on your PC.
Right.
What's the problem? And that's how I knew where the game industry was going in a completely different direction, especially with developers. Because Microsoft, but again, like Sega Forever said, it is their fault because they bend over, help the industry, and then these developers give them the middle finger and then go somewhere else.
Right? That's an excellent point you brought. May I add something to this real quick?
Absolutely. Go right ahead, man.
You bring up an excellent point that it's not just the gamers, it's the developers as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got so much when it goes from the media to the gamer. Think about everything that they were doing with Xbox. The gamer refused to buy the game, no matter when Xbox was meeting them where they said, okay, if only you did this, it would be much better. Then Xbox does that. They make the correction. They're listening to their potential customers. But then you don't support them. You don't buy the game. You don't buy the hardware. You're telling them one thing, but they're not seeing any results to it. So nothing they do was making a difference. Then with the media, okay, the media don't like certain things. Xbox tried to change their behavior to become more of a customer-friendly company, things like that, from the eyes of the media. And they still get no recognition. Anytime they do one stumble or one mess up, it gets plastered everywhere. And then when things, even when they don't do something, things get plastered everywhere. If PlayStation does something, somehow Xbox's name gets brought into the conversation, even when it's a thing, right? So with the media, it was nothing they could do that could change the perception or change the conversation in their favor, no matter how they met in the middle. And then you got the developers. The developers is whining, if we had better tools, or if we had more support, we need our games to go everywhere. And they give them the very thing that they asked for, and then all of a sudden they abandon them. They're quick to leave them. The only thing they care about is the PlayStation or the Nintendo or the
Mhm.
PC or whatever other thing other than Xbox.
Because they're
So,
following the perception of whatever is positive. That's it.
right. So what all that Xbox is left to glean from that information is that nothing we do will matter. Nothing. We can
Mhm.
read you, we can listen to you, we can try to get feedback, we can do all these things, and nothing will matter to you in what we do. And so, in my opinion, as much as I might not say this normally when it comes to corporations, because they can be greedy and horrible things sometimes.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
in the case of Xbox, after what I have seen, taking course over years, decades, even okay, at this
Mhm.
that they are one of the few corporations that are in their right to just say, the heck with all of y'all, this is what we're gonna do. And if you want our stuff, then you get it. If you don't, then so be it. It's
Right.
everywhere. And
Mhm.
if you don't want it, use it on your TV. Like right now on my LG, I can play Xbox on just through the television.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So if you have your options, what they have done, they're continuing with their vision regardless of who likes it or who doesn't like it. Okay. So do I believe that them placing their games everywhere right now is a result of that stuff? No. I think what happened with Ori was a unique situation to that developer team and what was happening then. I think what they're doing now is what
They are not to cut you off. I'm just adding to what you were saying on your rant, which is great.
okay.
The developers of Action did the same thing, and developers of Cuphead did the same thing. They
Right.
made a deal for lifetime exclusivity, and then went to Microsoft and said, "Can we put it somewhere else?"
Right.
Who the fuck does that? That's like you working with a ball. He tells you, "Listen, you work for me. You got to do this," and then you say, "Hey, yeah, can I go work for the guy across the street, and you still allow me to work here and pay me what I'm worth?"
Right.
Like what? It's not gonna happen. Go ahead.
What I'm seeing now, this is what I'm seeing. Whether it comes to the fan base, and it's unfortunate because the good fans are kind of getting swept up into
We're
this.
the ones getting the worst
Yeah.
end of the stick. Yes, absolutely.
They're like, we're done with this. You get what we're going to give you. We got the value there. We got the best console. We got the best service. We got the best of everything in gaming. And if you want it, you're going to come to us in the way that we want you to come to us.
Imagine.
That's basically
Yeah,
what
who's
they're
saying-
saying.
They imagine, right?
Wait, I'm sorry, Dale. Who's that? Who's that? Microsoft?
Microsoft. Yeah.
Okay.
Why I say that? Because they're not so much listening to other people. People was complaining about FanFest. FanFest still ain't back. They don't care.
Can I
Mhm.
ask-
Phil
Can I-
doesn't
Look at what Mr. Kima said. Look at what Mr. Kima said. He
What
said,
did he say?
Moon
Okay.
Studios in trouble with their new IP. It's not selling. He also said something funny about Matty Plays. If you could go back and
Oh, did he?
and look at it, say for, and he's absolutely right. They are supposedly in trouble. But Mr. Kima, can we really feel sorry for them after they use Microsoft, went the other way, and it's not working for them? Not really.
I don't.
Not really. Not really.
They could have had a lot of projects approved up by Microsoft, especially
Absolutely, absolutely. They would have been a flagship developer for smaller projects for Microsoft. In fact, being that they had so much talent, they could have definitely even done a AAA.
Yes.
Look at South of Midnight. Look at South of Midnight.
I think they would have acquired Moon.
Pero
That's
they
what
are.
I think what they would have done if they had a relationship.
They didn't want to be acquired. That was the whole shit. He was saying, "Oh no, we like the way we are. We don't want to be acquired." Now he's popping off, talking shit like they're the fucking victims when they're the ones that screwed over Microsoft. Fuck you. You made the choice.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? Like, don't play the victim card now, and don't blame the gamers.
You know, it's funny. They have a service called Game Pass that could really be helping them.
That's right.
Thank you. They can put Rest for the Wicked on Game Pass, get paid up front, and I guarantee you the game will do better than what they expect.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
Because
game
it
goes
gets-
everywhere. The
Yeah.
game will go everywhere. So
That's what I'm saying.
Playing with, you
So,
know.
Dale, I want to ask you something when you're done. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No. I want to. Okay. So I like what you said. Made your point. This is what I'm thinking, and you can, and Hiba chime in too. But
Mhm.
since you brought it up, what I think is happening too is that I honestly believe that the brand and the culture of Xbox matters, and I'm gonna put myself on blast because I feel kind of this way. Before, what I would do, right, is I would look at the people that support Xbox, and I would make it my personal mission to go buy their games. Not
Yes.
just pay them in Game Pass, but to buy their games. Okay?
Yes.
Now I'm sitting there looking at it like, well, you know what? If Phil, in his infinite wisdom, feels that by opening up the catalog to everybody and bringing everybody in as this one happy family, that we are in gaming, right? Because there's no division in gaming whatsoever, right? We all love each other. We all get along, right? So why should it be upon me, right, to
Condescending.
buy something now when you're gonna have all these millions upon millions of PlayStation and Nintendo guys coming in and helping support the brand? So maybe now I don't have to buy like every single game. Like I'll just
Nope.
look at the Sega game because I'll buy that.
Yeah, let the Sony guys give you that money that you so-called said you needed. Right.
And the Nintendo guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't worry about the PC guys because they got Steam, and Steam is Steam. It proves itself because Towerborn went straight to Steam.
It did,
Mhm.
it did,
Right.
and
So
it
I'm
was
not-
supported there before it came to console because they were doing the beta testing over there.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
and
yeah,
I can tell because I play with these guys and they got all the skins,
yep,
Right.
that's the PC people.
Yeah.
got all the skins, and they're the ones complaining the loudest, right? Because they've been in it the longest.
Yeah, they
And
have
that's
it a
good
long
work.
time.
They
And this is
invested.
one thing-
They invested.
This is one thing I love about the combination of the two is because when it comes to Xbox, I don't have to worry about it. You feel me? I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like, oh wow, they worked it out already. So I'm getting like when it came to Xbox,
But you see how the PC community is complaining because they invested. That's kind of the same concept why gamers on Xbox, like ourselves, complain when we see them giving libraries of games that, first of all, were only where they are today because of the support of the Xbox fan base. And we didn't turn our back on them and been supporting them through the years. And now they're turning around to giving it to a fan base on another side that didn't give a fuck about the brand, didn't give a fuck about the games, didn't give a fuck about Xbox. And all they did was say they had garbage games, garbage console, and that it was trash because it
Oh.
wasn't a Japanese console. And
then
yet they're still giving them what they didn't help fundamentally built in the level that we did as Xbox fans.
that's what I was ranting on the other day on my video, right? It's because they tried to put Xbox in the dirt. But that aside,
Yeah, I want to respond to this because
Yeah.
I actually going to come at a different angle from you
yes.
guys.
Mhm.
So go ahead. That was my question.
Mhm.
That was my statement to you for you to react to.
Okay.
I
Oh,
feel
I know.
go ahead. So go ahead.
Okay. I thought that way
knew you-
originally, but I don't think that way. I think it's a much more complex thing. I think Xbox is doing several things at once, and I think this is what you guys are missing. One, they are adapting to the market as they see it. I really believe that, and as much as this may hurt some people, they believe the physical is going to go away at some point. You know how forward thinking they are as a company. They are getting ahead of that, and they no longer care what people think about them doing that. They made the mistake in 2013 by taking a step back when they saw where things was going to go in 2013, and lo and behold, we're seeing Nintendo implement a lot of those things from 2013.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch 2 is basically an Xbox One.
There you go, and
Mhm.
they're getting away with it. But Xbox backed off, and they didn't get rewarded for that. They listened to what people said, and then people, nobody trusted them. They got destroyed for it. They still haven't fully recovered from that time. So I think they don't care. I think they're like, this is where we see things are going, and if we're going to be in the gaming industry, this is what we're going to do. That means they feel that the future of gaming is you put your games everywhere. That the keeping it on a platform is just not going to be the future because they see what the younger people are doing, and they have to start thinking about that now because us as gamers, we're getting old. And we're phasing out of the industry for them. They have to start looking at the younger groups. So this is what they see. So they're going to act on that regardless of if we like it, regardless of if it hurts them a little right now. They don't care. They're going to do what they think is going to benefit them in the long run. This is what they're doing. This is where I'm telling you, they're putting they toes in the sand. They're gripping it. They're not moving from that. Nothing we say or do or complain, we can kick and scream like a baby. None of that is going to change them from this because this is what they feel is their lifeline. Okay. They don't care about what the PlayStation gamer says or does as long as they put money in their pocket. They are using them. Okay. And they're giving the best experience that they can to the gamers who have been there the longest. And they're hoping that these people can see that. This is why you put so.
Well, they're not gonna put the entire. Sorry, Dan, I was not trying to cut you off.
Okay.
They're not gonna put the entire series of Gears or Forza. It's like I was trying to say before. Like they're trying to feed them particular games so they can see what they've been missing, kind of so to speak.
They've never played a Gears, or they've never see,
Right.
in order for them to pay for what Microsoft want them to pay for, they got to be familiar with the franchise.
Right.
Just like
Right.
Oblivion. I had never played Oblivion. So
Mhm.
to have it here in a remake form, I'm thrilled. I played Skyrim, but I never played
Yeah.
But guess who delivered this to me? Microsoft
Yeah.
did. But but I'm already in the ecosystem. But what are they doing to the people who are not in the ecosystem? They could easily say the next Skyrim is going to just be like Starfield. It could be a timed exclusive, maybe for years even.
Yeah.
They can easily say that, but they got to get people in the
Well, I think that's one of the reasons they're doing that, because what they're trying to do is, oh, look, give them a taste, and then the fact that they're giving so many games at once, it becomes overwhelming. Because if you have to pay $70 and $80 like the way you did for all the games this month, from Indiana Jones to Forza to Expedition to Doom to Towerborn, no, because Towerborn still is only exclusive on Xbox anyway.
Yeah,
So you know what I'm trying to say? And so is South of Midnight, and so is fucking Valve. So they were always going to have exclusives on the console market, because unlike the PC, the console only does one thing, and it's play video games, right? That's its primary. That's its primary functionality, right? So in order to entice anybody to buy that hardware, you have to have something. On a PC, it's open. You can do so many things with PC. That it's really a business investment, as not only for gaming, right? So that's why it makes it a different beast. But a console needs some exclusives so that they can at least be, oh yeah, well, you have this and you can only play it here. I get it. Even on PC, there's some games that maybe not all, but there's some games that you can only play there, right?
It is, and I want you guys to get V Rising, man. I've been having fun with that game. I can't wait. If Phil ever sees this, put V Rising in Game Pass or just on
right.
Play that. That game is so fun. But yeah,
right.
That
Absolutely. But that's my point. What they're doing is they're making a new Oblivion. They already said that years ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're giving them a little test and taste. And like you said, when the new Oblivion comes out, it's definitely going to be exclusive. It's not going to be a time, day and date. No, they're not going to do that. But they're going to do that to see if they get more people to come over to Xbox, to Game Pass, and to be on the game. Because they're not going to be like, oh, I'm not waiting 2 years. Even if it was timed, right?
FOMO,
I'm not going to wait 3 years. Look at Starfield. Starfield's going on 2 years so far. It might be even 3. And they're still waiting. You see what I'm saying? They're like, I'm not going to wait 3 years to play Oblivion. I'm just going to get an Xbox, even if it's the lower tier. I'm going to get an Xbox to play the game because I'm not waiting 3 years. And I think that's the same idea and mentality with Forza, the same idea and mentality with Gear. Because E-Day is a prequel. It's around the corner. I'm almost 100% sure.
There you go.
I'm almost 100% sure, guys, right?
Wait, so you think South of Midnight is not going to go to PlayStation?
No. Because it's smaller. They're going to keep the smaller, more like the Gunk. The Gunk has never gone to PlayStation.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I know what they're doing. I'll explain it after he buys.
Hellblade 2 is not on PlayStation. You see what I'm saying, brother?
They'll go. But what you got to understand is what they do is they do timed exclusive, because what they're giving PlayStation mostly is older games. They're going to always
and games with some game as a service type of element, except for Gears, obviously.
That's it. But the newer stuff, we're going to get it first. We're going to have it ahead of them.
We'll have it on Game Pass. We'll have it for exclusive long time. But again, it's not going to be every game, because I think that's.
Point so you can
go ahead.
Point, okay. So the reason why it's like that, because it will constantly feed them with older games to put and ship on
making money too.
And they'll be older. They've already gotten what they got out of Game Pass, out of Xbox, out of PC. And then they'll be rolling these things out to PlayStation when they feel like it, right? So Starfield will eventually
giving them the sloppy seconds, huh?
Right. Basically, they're stuck getting that, waiting for however long to get that stuff. That's what they're treating them the way Sony treats us. Okay. Now they don't put their games over here, but I'm just saying in general, they just treating them like, you're not first place to us. Your potential customer, and thank you for giving us the money. We'll give
Yeah,
you
they're treating us like Sony does in the sense that they don't give us the games and they hold a lot of stuff exclusively for a while.
when it
But
comes
then when we get it, it's old. Like when we get Final Fantasy VII
right,
Remake, it's gonna be so old that I don't even know if people are gonna care anymore when it
exactly.
comes out. You get what I'm saying?
Forza
I don't
Horizon,
know.
how old is that? Tell me.
Like 5 years old.
Right,
Five.
there you
Yeah.
go. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but we had it for all that time. So they're going to always, yes, they're going to get Starfield at some point. They're going to get Hellblade 2 at some, but it's going to be older. And we're
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
get
even.
that
Honestly, I don't think they're even gonna get some of those games.
They
I
might not.
really don't. I think Microsoft's gonna keep a specific type of game and specific ones, on the platform, to
That's
give it some
possible.
exclusivity.
That's
And they're just
possible.
gonna drop it, pick and choose. Because remember, with Bethesda and with Activision alone, they could just do all those games multi-plat and just keep all their other in-house stuff first party, and
They
it would
could.
not hurt them.
They could.
You see what I'm trying to say?
I don't know what direction Xbox is going to take because the way they're going, they got different models that's active.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You could be right. I can be right on a portion of it. You
We could both be right. We could both be wrong. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
There you go.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
I'm not
so-
even saying you wrong. So this is primarily how I see it. I think there's multiple things going on with Xbox's strategy, and I don't believe that they're just ignoring their customer base. I believe they generally believe they're giving you the best in gaming. I believe that they feel that you guys are privileged because you're getting excellent games. You're seeing where the money is going, whether it's an acquisition or it's just the newer games. They're going back to the old catalog. You have access to with the console itself. All the things that the console is doing, the support of any games that you have will go forward. We know that Sarah Bond said that they are giving you so much in benefits that they feel like we are taking care of you. It's just not in the old way, in the way you're thinking. But we are doing it. But we also have to survive going into the future. We have to make these decisions, and they're not going to budge on those. Nothing we say is going to change that. So I just think that's how I see it. I'm not saying that they care about PlayStation. They don't care about them. If they, Phil don't even talk to them people. You think he's talking to a bunch of PlayStation people willingly? I think he says what he has to say to help sell games, to keep the media at bay to some degree, because he knows they're never going to be totally at bay. And then he's trying to, be a business person. But I think ultimately, and then unfortunately, some of the Xbox people, stupid Xbox people, sort of like the Tim Dogs and John, turned their backs on them the first time they did something that he didn't like. And I think that damaged some of the relationship that Xbox had with the fans because they were very close. It's something that no other fan base could speak on is what Xbox had. What Xbox fans had with the developer, with not the developers, but the with the head of Xbox. So I do believe that's changed. I think it's been damaged. I think this constant whining every time they put a game over there on PlayStation hasn't helped. This is probably why the fan fest thing is gone because these people are idiots. And
I think it's on both sides of it. I really do. I mean, I look good. I love Phil. I think he's a great guy. I think he's the best thing to happen to Xbox. But again, he lied. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah,
if
he did that time. He did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did do.
And he knows like none of this stuff is it's all planned out. It's all roadmapped.
Yeah.
So part of me, and I'm not gonna hold this against him, right? He's done a Herculean effort with all of this stuff with
Yeah,
Xbox.
he has. Yeah.
But brother, say it forever. Real quick. You don't.
Let me finish this.
No, I'm trying to ask you something about what you just said real quick before I forget.
All right, wait, hold on. Let me write this down because I'm gonna forget. Go ahead.
Yeah, because we
You don't think that Phil was set up especially since you don't see that he don't talk no more?
No. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? They roadmap all this stuff out, right? And
Mhm.
whether he's set up or not, dude, he should trust us. Is the problem, right? He should.
I
trust
got you.
the fan base that's stuck with him.
Yes.
And I know
Yes.
that's something new, especially in the tech industry. That these like if it's football, look, the Steelers had a draft. They went a different direction than I thought they were going to go. I'm not saying I 100% hate it, not saying I 100% loved it, but at the end of the day, I'll be watching the game, supporting the team.
Right.
That's a very sports person mentality, right? Like I wish they would have stuck with Russell Wilson. Some Steeler fans don't agree with me. Some do. but at the end of the day, we'll all show up for the game, regardless. We can disagree, we can have that. The thing about gaming is, and what Microsoft's trying to do, and I think that's one of the problems with Microsoft is they're corporate, right? And I'm not complaining about them being corporate, right? But the Xbox brand now is corporate. It is corporate. It shows right now, like you guys are saying, right? They're not as connected, and I agree with you. I don't blame them, man, because the fans are just as bad, you know. But what I feel like I have to call them on the carpet on is that they should have trusted the fans more, and should have given, like you say all the time, Ebon, I should have given it to the hardcore fans, right? But again, I think a lot of it has to do with their personal interactions and stuff like that. And it seems like that's like been oil and vinegar, right? And that's why we're not getting what we're getting, or that's why they're making the decisions that they're making as far as how they're going to approach the community. Sarah Bond should be, like, to me, Sarah Bond is the next best thing for Xbox, and I loved having her out there talking to the fans.
Yeah, even she doesn't come out no more.
No.
Like, you know,
None of them do. They're all quiet.
they
after
don't.
that
Yeah,
after that little snafu that happened with her, and I know they were like, okay, we're gonna put. That's when I saw that happening, right? Because they kind of had the deer in the headlights kind of thing, and people were complaining about that too. And I'm like, what do you expect her to say, bro? What do you guys expect her to say, dude? At the end of the day, dude, whatever they say, you guys are gonna be happy. The majority of you guys are gonna be happy, right? So I totally understand it. I get it, right? I don't know, for me personally, moving forward with what Microsoft's gonna do. If as long as you give me what I want, then I'll be fine. As long as you keep on continuing what you're doing, right? I'll be happy.
Oh,
But on the flip side of that, dude, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not gonna. I find myself going more towards this. Like, it just reminds me of how hardcore of a Sega fan I was. You know?
Yes.
Right. As opposed to a Microsoft or Xbox fan. And I'm not trying to be. Look, I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. It's just that seems to be the direction that they're going, and I'm adjusting for myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If the new direction that they've taken doesn't suit you, then I have said that people have to make a decision. Some have, and they've walked away. Everybody's going to have to make that decision. You know, for me, I'm getting what I want out of Xbox. So I'm not going nowhere. I'm just.
Well, I mean, we may not agree like about what they're doing, because I understand where Sega Forever is coming from. I feel the same.
I get it.
I don't agree, but I'm not getting a better experience, value, or comfortability in any other platform.
Agreed. Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm going to leave them, but I'm like Sega Forever. I'm not going to be buying games if you're not giving me the option of buying physical, and if you're just putting it somewhere else where you know they don't give a fuck about the brand. That's just me.
Well, they're going to do that no matter what.
You know, I'll play it on Game Pass. I'll support it through Game Pass, and hopefully the game will do well, even if I don't support it like I normally would have. You know what I'm trying to say? Does that make sense? So I'm in the same boat with Sega Forever as far as that goes, but I'm also in the boat with you as far as there's no other better place to play than their ecosystem, and I prefer to play on their console, obviously. So I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation 7, 6, or Nintendo Switch 2, 3, or 17 because they're not going to change. They're going to stay with their archaic ways until it falters and it doesn't, and it backfires and doesn't work in their favor. And you already see that Sony's almost in that point where they're about to kill. They're about to kill over. The developers of Helldiver already said they don't want them to publish their next game. Sony is going to fully fund it, but they don't want it to publish because they want to put it on Xbox. They already said it.
Well,
what? The developer wants to put it on Xbox?
They want to put their next game on Xbox. Yeah, they said it.
A lot of
The Helldiver.
to play it, but you know, Sony don't want. They want their games they don't even lock their games to their ecosystem. They put them.
Yes.
So they, I think they don't want no more of that. They understand. They
Helldivers 2 only did well because of the PC community. That's a fact.
That's it.
That's a fact.
I think
and the PC community are normally pick and choose what they buy. They don't buy everything.
No,
they buy what they're picky with what they buy, and they supported that game. And
that game is built. That game is built for. It's just like Dark Tide.
Yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying. And it's a game. And it's a game that would do well. And it's a game that would do well, not for nothing, on Xbox. Right?
I think it would have did really
because it's a style of game that it is.
Yeah.
It's competitive. It's almost like Starship Troopers. It's got like good gameplay mechanics in an essence. And they're a good developer. Don't get me wrong, they are a good developer. But the whole point is they should if the developer came out and said, okay, we're not going to let Sony publish the next game because we want to put it everywhere else. We want it on Xbox as well. But Sony already made an agreement.
I'll tell you this. It's caked in because what they realize, right? And I'm just coming because you guys know I'm a shooter fan, right?
Yeah.
What they realize is that by having the PC merge with the Xbox, that community, and I can speak on this, man, because my playing time in Vermintide jumped, my playing time in Darktide jumped. There was times that these games were just on, like if they were just on Xbox, I'm just playing with Xbox guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. There'd be times like I'd have to play certain times to get into games. With the PC community in the mix now, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm playing Towerborn right now, and Towerborn's in beta, and I'm still getting in. My internet's fixed.
It's a lot of people in there. I just can't get no game. Like when I try to join other people's games, I'm having problems with that aspect. For some
But that's totally on the beta front, and you know that for a fact, Dia, because the PC guys have been cleaning. Because if you go back in the commentary on it, they've been complaining about this since like a year ago.
Oh,
When they
okay.
had it.
Okay.
And then now they're putting Xbox in, so it's going to be a certain thing. They're trying to meld it all together.
Oh,
and I have the same issues every once in a while, especially if you're in a good game with a good group of people, and then you get kicked out.
you want to like keep playing. Or I haven't even been able to stay in when I get kicked and stuff. So something's wrong with that. Being able to join a party.
Well, they have they've actually put in some certain things with Towerborn that's again, this is why I do like when they do it, because PC, when it goes to PC like that, it's almost like PC expected it to be that way, and then they get the input, right?
That's true.
And then they build, and that's what helps build the game. So by the time we get it on Xbox, like a year and a half later, that's what happened with Darktide. By the time we got it, all that stuff was caked in.
It was.
Yeah. Or like Killing Floor, right? Wasn't it the same case with Killing Floor?
Yep.
Oh, Killing Floor, yeah. If it wasn't for
absolutely.
PC,
PC.
Yeah, Killing Floor is a pretty cool game.
Yeah, I was one of those people. So because
that's one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said I'm surprised that you're not as fond of wanting to play Doom.
No,
it's very no. I'm saying like playing it like right away, like you said. I'm not really a big fan or whatever. But
no. I like Doom because I my first game was Doom 3. So I didn't play the old ones, but I played my first.
Yeah. But to be honest, the old ones are. When you play them today, you're like, damn, why the fuck this game is so popular?
Yeah, so popular.
They're really kind of lame. They are.
All I have to do is think about the guys that used to try and get me to play Doom. There's a bunch of geeks in the computer room with the fastest computers and with time on their hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
I feel Doom.
Quake, I played Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, Quake 4. Quake 4 on 360 was awesome.
Yeah.
Quake 4 on 360, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel that's when Doom. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you. What you said?
No. I was gonna say that I hope that they do the same treatment to Quake that they did with Doom.
Oh, like a new experience? Yeah, like a new Quake. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
I mean,
even though they're very. Go ahead, say it. What were you gonna say?
I can't play any of them anyway. So.
No. I was gonna say even though Quake is very similar in some ways to Doom, but it's still different. It manages to be different somehow.
No, they make me nauseous.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're too fast, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, too quickly. There's something about it when the movement that it makes me.
Yeah, you know what used to do? A game used to do that to me. 2 games used to do that to me in 360. It was a dope first-person shooter based off like these just like crazy folklore creatures and worlds. It was called Legendary. Did you guys ever play that game?
No, I haven't. I don't think I have.
No. It was called Legendary. Awesome game. But oh my God, because of the freaking FPS, the way it moved, it was like inconsistent. I would always get a really mean headache. And then there was another one that started where you're a construction worker, you were building a building, and the building got attacked. I forgot the name of the game. And it was so bad, the frame rate, I would want to throw up like 5 minutes into playing. It was bad.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember what was the game. In that sense, I wish that consoles got the freedom that the PC community has as far as being able to control at the very least, the FPS and resolution.
Yes.
Because some games you just can't play them because they make you sick. They give you motion sickness.
Yeah.
And it's bad. Like it's like woof, I would want to throw up 5 minutes into playing. I tried playing it several times to see if it would be different. And every time I played, I couldn't do it.
it started giving me a headache. My equilibrium got all fucked up, and I start feeling like I'm gonna throw up. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Dude,
It was bad.
If the console makes me nauseous, the PC will make me throw up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I just realized I can't play these games. I'm gonna try Dark Ages.
I'm
but
curious. Did you play Indiana Jones? Remember all the PlayStation dudes were saying that it was causing them, motion sickness.
Yeah.
I don't think that had anything to do with the game.
Yeah.
It's probably throwing up because they realized that Xbox is really that good.
Yeah.
They were like, God damn, Xbox made this game. That's crazy.
Oh, just
Or
to your,
one
to your point, what you said earlier, Dia. Yeah, I did see an article earlier about the PlayStation guys. Like they're upset. Jade Raymond got let go. They're
Yes.
not getting any games, and then
Yes.
I'm not.
They're bringing up the price. They brought up the price again, or they're bringing up the price of the PSN, and
Yep.
they're like the value is not there, especially when you look at Game Pass.
Exactly.
They're making their own community start to question. God damn, Microsoft get their community this shit, but we don't got this shit. So again, I think that would work in the favor of Xbox, right?
Well, no, they're saying that I might as well. So the statement is I might as well go to Xbox.
That's what they're
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Especially in the vlogs, like Reddit and shit like that. When you see them talk, there's a lot of them saying that, and it's crazy because you're like, wow, these are people that are clearly not paying attention to YouTubers or Twitter. They're playing games, and they're seeing that, hey, the value's just not there, right?
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Just sorry, guys, real quick. Let me get this comment in because I feel bad. Stuart Bigley, just play, bro. Stuart, were you around in 2013?
Yeah.
Were you here in 2013?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Check that at the door, bro.
It's like when I see VG Fight School, right?
Yeah.
Awesome dude, awesome content. I love the way he does his stuff, but he doesn't understand. Like he thinks that the console warming is just because we have nothing else better to do, right?
No. So here, let me just say this, right? Like just like you say, VG Fight School, all these dudes that are out here now, yeah, you can do it now, bro, because you wasn't there in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Like the rest
So in 2013, everybody was like hiding behind closets.
One second. I dealt with that back then. We were in the trenches. I dealt with that back then, and I still gained. I'm dealing with the goodness we have now, and I still gain.
Yeah, we dealt with it in the Sega era.
I'm gonna tell you this straight up, bro.
Yeah, we dealt with it in the Sega era.
One second. If you come to this podcast, that's just the way I am, dude. I'm not gonna let this stuff go until Sony's gone or Nintendo gone or both.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right, because that's what they tried to do to Xbox.
Yeah,
they did it to Sega because I'm a Sega fan. Gamer tag Sega forever.
yeah.
I'm a Sega fan, and they did it to Sega. They tried to do it on Xbox. What they found out really quick was that Microsoft actually cared, and then they stepped in, and it was over.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the U.S., right? People mess with one of our allies. We're not doing anything. Then they try to invade them. Then we show up with a carrier group, and they're like, "Holy crap!" That's what ended up happening with Microsoft and Xbox, because Satya was like, "Hey, dude, we can make a lot of money off of this stuff, and we can use these people as guinea pigs."
Yeah.
All of that stuff gets factored in, right?
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I do play. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be playing my games right now. But just to let you know how it is on this channel. But welcome.
Mhm.
I'm not saying you can't be here or have your commentary, but
No, you're just keeping it real so they know where you come from. But again, these guys don't understand that. Again, to the point, we're not console warring for the sake of console warring, right?
Yeah, we have no choice.
We're pointing out the BS that has been going on in this industry since the Sega era, right? With companies like Nintendo and now Sony, right? Where they get all these praises and they're the ones that started the bullshit anti-consumer shit. They're the ones that have been the most anti-consumer to the entire industry, developers, fan base, culture, you name it, it's been them, right? And yet that's not how they're looked at. And then the ones that have been there for the positive nature of the industry to move it forward, to actually give fan base more bang for their buck, right? Which in this case is actually Microsoft, right? And they're the ones that, oh no, they're thieves, they're trying to rob your money. They don't give a fuck about you. Why don't you just play games? Who cares what they do? Are you mad that somebody else gets to play your game? No, it's not that you're mad. It's that the principle of it is the PlayStation community and Sony themselves never gave two flying shits about Xbox.
never helped Xbox. And the contrary, all they ever did was try to hurt Xbox. And like I said earlier, if PlayStation would have had the money that Microsoft and Xbox division has at this point in time, Microsoft would have been dead 10 years ago, because they would have not hesitated not one bit. They would have not blinked not one bit to take them out. And the industry would still have been 20 years behind, paying these astronomical upcharge prices for games that are not even moving the needle, moving forward in technology or innovation or ideas. And all these developers will still be held down, chokehold, like POWs in war, right? From with companies like Sony and like Nintendo. And we wouldn't be able to do nothing about it, because you can't even meet this in the PC space, because the PC space don't have developers. They don't make their own content. They don't make their own games. Their own developers. That's just an open market platform, right? They just enjoy whatever is given to them, and they do what they do, right? But Xbox in the console space is also catering to PC and to the console space.
Also have Valve. Don't forget that they do make.
Yeah, Valve. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, like you don't have NVIDIA or AMD. They don't own developers. They're not spending millions of dollars making games like Halo Infinite. You know what I mean?
No,
that's what I'm trying to say. When Microsoft gives you a console, they not only give you the console, they're spending millions of dollars with developers helping them to make the games, making peripheral. You get what I'm trying to say there? That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So that in that perspective, Microsoft is the only company, even though they're making money fistful of dollars or a handful of dollars, whatever the case, the saying may be, but people are still like, oh, stop crying. You just Microsoft's there. You just mad that they're putting games where they belong on the better platform. Like, no, because Sony's not providing and doing anything. It's them. Even right now, all of Sony's games, what are they? All third party. Silent Hill 2, third party. Last Ronin, third party. Stellar Blade, third party. Lost Soul Aside, third party. The other one that's coming out a little bit later, the Phantom Blade Zero, third party. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy VII Remake, third party. All the games that they have that you guys are touting, right? Like the Last Ronin, for example, right? They're all third party games. Even Wolverine, Spider-Man, doesn't belong to them. It's not their IP. It belongs to Disney. In fact, Disney's the one that funds the games. All Sony does is pay for the marketing to, market the game because it's exclusive on their console. Because they own movie rights to, let's say, Spider-Man. And that's why Disney gives them the privilege to make certain games exclusive to their platform. See? As far as the company, the history, the developers over there and their fan base, they don't deserve what other people built. They just don't. They don't, because they would have been, if it was the other way around, like I said, Microsoft would have been dead since 2013 or even before that, because all they do is hate and hate and hate and be negative. And then the worst part is that half or almost 95% of the things that they say is false about Xbox. They have no clue what they're saying. They don't have no clue what they're talking about. From the games, the quality.
That's what happened to Sega. And
so but Sega didn't have the money to fight back. That's the difference, like you said.
That was the game plan.
Money.
That was the game plan that they wanted to do. Their fan base, a bunch of sycophants who I could care less about. Right? That was their game plan. That's what they wanted to do, but it's not going to work on Microsoft.
No.
Let me read Mr. Kima and then then Daniel. Then I wanted to shift somewhere real quick, as I know we're running long. But Mr. Kima says they are always constantly attacked on Twitter. That's why they don't post there anymore. Also, Mr. Kima,
I believe it.
Because of Elon.
I believe it.
He was gonna charge. You remember like how we shared our stuff, and Elon was like, "No, we want money for that." So that kind of put a riff on the Twitter, Microsoft thing as well. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights says, "Happy Saturday, happy WNBA day, Daniel. I know the Fever plays today. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it, but I'll try and check it out. But sorry guys, I just wanted to catch that before I lost track of all these guys. Hold on. Dia, were you gonna say something? Comment on that, or are we good?
No, but I think I'm in agreement with everything he said. Honestly.
All right.
Yeah.
Just really quick, I wanted to show you guys something really fast. Sorry, because I got people blowing up my phone right now. Okay, hold on.
Oh. Okay.
Um, so this was the whole Disney thing that I talked about. I'm gonna just play it real fast and get some commentary from. But there is a mention about something about gaming.
20 years ago this year, Walt Disney
Can you guys see
opened
it?
the first Disneyland
Yep.
in California.
There's really no secret about our
Steamboat Willie.
we keep moving forward.
Steamboat Willie. Yep.
Hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
Now,
Hey,
the
it's
first
taking forever.
15
Yeah.
years, a brand
Look
new
at what I send you
and
on the on your messenger on the phone.
All right. I'll play this. Let me set this up.
UAE capital will soon be home to the 7th Disney destination. One of the key drivers of the deal is Mohammed Al Mubarak, the force behind bringing F1 and the NBA to Abu Dhabi, building the iconic Saadiyat Cultural District.
And then
For him,
I'm gonna give you my number.
it was
Yeah.
different. I asked him why.
The Disney magic. You know, very difficult to replicate the Disney magic. I think we all know the IPs that Disney have. But more importantly than that is how they continuously create everlasting memories, whether when you visit their parks, watch their shows, watch their movies, anything that's a touch point by Disney creates that. I felt that. You know, the earliest memories I have, happy memories, was visiting Disney World with my mother and my siblings for the first time. That memory lives with me. That memory created not just a fan, but created an emotional connection with this brand.
The 7th Disney theme park resort destination.
The arrival of Disney is more than just a headline. It is the latest step in Abu Dhabi's sweeping vision to become a global capital of culture and tourism. It's a transformation I've seen unfold firsthand over the past decade.
The plan to develop Yas Island, I believe, was initiated back in 2006. Take me back.
This chopper ride really gives me goosebumps because the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, flew over this island. He wanted to create a destination for all.
So I've watched the evolution of this place. Is Disney the crown jewel?
Yes, when it comes to sort of what we're trying to create here at Yas Island. But we continuously innovate. We continuously find ways to enhance this quality of life that is so dear to us. So are we going to be done after Disney? No. We're always going to find ways to bring in more people to experience our collective. We are in a very distinct geographical location. We are 4 hours away from a third of the world's population. Asia, Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, North Africa, Central Africa, the Arabian Peninsula. We're going to be creating something there that actually touches every single geographical location within that.
Josh Damaro has driven Disney's most ambitious projects, transforming parks into a cash powerhouse. He insists today's announcement is only the first step in Disney's grand Abu Dhabi vision.
We're in the very early days of what Abu Dhabi will mean to this part of the world. It's pretty impressive, the population that surrounds this area, and it's pretty impressive what's already happening here right now. When you bring Disney into the mix of a tourism destination and you build with the ambition that we plan to build with here, undoubtedly what will happen is that will attract even more tourists. It's kind of a crossroads of the world in a way. It's a young nation, but it's a very proud nation, a nation that celebrates legacy and history, but also has this very aggressive lean forward in terms of what the future can look like. And in many ways, it's very similar to Disney. Everything that we do, particularly as we build new, we're pushing the envelope on creativity. Our research and development labs back at home in California are working on some of the most cutting edge technologies to immerse people in these stories. what we recognized very early on in our discussions with Maral and the people of Abu Dhabi was this lean towards technology, this futuristic look at what society could look like.
And that focus on the future and cutting-edge technology is fully aligned with the Abu Dhabi strategy.
We're going to be utilizing the investments that are happening in the UAE and around the world in regards of tech, in quantum, in AI, on how we can bring this all together. So right now, what's amazing is that we know we have a lot of pieces of the puzzle. The next couple of years is putting this puzzle together.
Another new feature is gamification, designed to engage a digital-first generation in the Disney multiverse.
So gamification is huge. How we gamify everything. And you're seeing it in our daily lives. It's making every difference. How are we going to gamify the experience of our visitors from their hotel rooms, maybe from the booking stage, where they feel that they are part of this world and they are either gaining points or they are gaining a prize throughout the overall experience? That's something that definitely we would look into.
We made an investment in Epic Games about a year ago or so now, $1.5 billion. And what we're seeing is Gen Alpha particularly is gathering in these spaces to play games, to socialize, to watch. So these communities are forming. And we wanted to be part of that. Think about a Disneyland theme park inside of a virtual environment. And by the way, back and forth, something that you experience in Fortnite, for example, which is part of Epic Games, that experience you have there, you might be able to carry back to a theme park. So we're really pushing hard into the space. And with the new park that we're building here in Abu Dhabi, we've got an opportunity from ground up to think about how games and interactivity cannot be just something you do at home or on your phone, but how it interplays with the actual park.
Bringing imagination to life with cutting-edge technology in a city that blends tradition and modernity.
Sorry, guys, just real quick. That was from Forza. That's the Forza track that he just passed. Oops, sorry.
Races towards a bold new future.
Hold on. This is like one of my favorite tracks.
Justin Tupper and Clive Simmons.
So never mind. Okay, sorry, guys. Let me try and get this back. I'm all over the place. There we go. Any thoughts? Just really quickly, dude. One of the things I love about that is that it's going to be Disney affiliated, but Disney's not going to be the one doing it. That's the most important thing. There'll be partnership with them, but if you guys know anything about Saudi Arabia, they won't put up with the crap that Disney would probably try and bring to the park, right?
Right.
They'll shut that down, and that's the thing that I'm most excited about when it comes to this park. And I like what the person was saying, one of the princes there. And also, if you guys didn't know, a lot of the ideas you have about Saudi Arabia, there's a new generation of Saudi princes that's running the show now. A lot of the kings are still there, right? But they're transferring all their stuff to the sons, and the sons are the ones that are on the cutting edge of all this kind of stuff. You heard him mention Epic Games, right? You heard him use the term gamification, right? If you guys didn't know, Apple just lost a big case, right? Microsoft and Epic were all in on that, right? Because of the way Apple the way they run their store, right? And you know that if you have an iPhone and you want to use Game Pass, and I think what Adia maybe can straighten me out on that. I think they have they had to create an app, like they couldn't put the service on there or something like that. Microsoft had to jump through hoops, and even then, Apple wasn't happy about that. Apple is appealing all this kind of stuff, but the reason I bring that up, guys, several things, right? So all these things are happening in real time, right? And especially when it comes to gaming. I know this is a Disney thing, but Disney is also cognizant of the fact of that they're looking at that younger generation to the point that Hebot and Dia was talking about earlier, right? Like, especially Dia, right? You're talking about the digital, me and Hebot were more on the physical stuff. We don't want to see that going away. But it's that generation, as you heard he said Gen Alpha or whatever, right? He talked about that. But it's that generation of people that they're looking at, right? The next generation. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I'm just saying that's something that's just being put out there, right? Is it going to drive the market? How they're going to respond? How it's going to change gaming? That's always something that I keep in mind. Oh, did I lose Heba? We lost Heba. D, are you still there? Hello? Oh my gosh, I think I might have lost everybody.
Hold on for a sec, go ahead and carry because I'm trying to get a number from Hebot real quick.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Sorry about that. He had to exit out, so he'll be right back.
Okay, I got you.
All right, just carry on. I'll be right back. Okay.
Sorry about that. I thought I shut down the wrong. Window. Man, you know about my tech skills on this, guys. So I showed this video yesterday on my yesterday on the video, and kind of for the same reason, but a little bit different. But everything right now is being structured and coming out of Saudi Arabia, as you can see. These guys, this is why the president's there. Like him or not, this is why he's there. This is why he's able to walk away with what $46 trillion, however much money that he got. Right. These guys are moving forward. This is what they wanted from China, right? This is in the 90s when we were trying to get China to open up and brought them in the World Trade Organization, and we thought they were going to be a good player and do things the right way, which they didn't. But this was the hopes and the dreams. I remember when it happened that a lot of people were hoping for when China came on board, right? Oh, hold on, guys. I got the private chat thing going on. Okay, I see. But that's what everybody was hoping for with China. We saw how that worked out. So is that going to be the same thing with Saudi Arabia? Maybe, right? It's interesting to me because I don't see Microsoft out there. I'm not saying that they're not there. They're not working behind the scenes. But I'm surprised they don't have a bigger... like when I see all the research I'm trying to do on this stuff, right? I don't see Microsoft in any interviews, any commentary. Maybe I'm just missing it. I'll keep on doing the deep dive. Because I think that area is going to be the next big thing. And I know like some of the companies right have an issue with Saudi Arabia because of their human rights thing, dude. I don't. Yeah, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. I'm gonna do another video strictly political, and I'll dive to it there. But what I'm saying is that they're moving forward, and I just want Microsoft to be in the forefront of all this kind of stuff. I talk about this with Japan, dude. That's at some point I want Microsoft to realize they have a great relationship with Japan. As long as we get our games, as long as they supply us with the stuff we need, especially for me as a gamer, I'm totally fine, right? But maybe you should start looking at Southeast Asia or South Korea. I don't know. I wouldn't deal with China. It is what it is. I know. I would pass that buck on that one. Maybe Taiwan. You can look at all of this stuff, right? But I feel like they need to be there. Mr. Kima says Saudi Arabia are building the world's tallest roller coaster. Yeah, Mr. Kima, they got a lot of amazing projects going on. But when I'm online, I look at it from a perspective of I just like seeing the possibilities, and I love seeing I love shows like Modern Marvels, stuff to do with engineering, architecture, stuff like that. So some of the stuff that they're building and that they have built, I remember when they were doing the islands, doing that palm circle thing, and people were like, "What is this? How are they going to pull it off?" And they did it, right? And they maintain it. And they got they're so like they're doing so much stuff over there. I mean, some people here that watch these videos and they'll comment like, "Oh, why aren't we doing that here?" Well, we do have standards and stuff. Like, you just can't do anything in the U.S., right? It has to be verified. But in Saudi Arabia, man, it's a kingdom, right? They're a kingdom. And these other Arab states, right? They have, they're not democracies in the sense of how we're a democracy, right? And for good reason, dude. Look, and I'm totally fine with that, dude. We do things our way. They do things their way. Again, just getting back to what it is about is just being on the forefront, on the cutting edge of all this stuff, okay? And being able to look at it from that perspective, right? At the end of the day, like you saw the president there again, he's just doing business deals, right? And for a lot of these companies, man, I mean, look, I am not a person that's socially, I don't believe social and stuff like that. Look, just be a good company. Do what's right, like right now you got McDonald's out there, man. They're in the news complaining about, they're not making enough money because the people that they priced out their consumer base. They've absolutely 100% priced out their consumer base. The people that go to McDonald's are people that need affordable prices. That's what their food is, right? There's no reason to be paying $20 for a Big Mac. That's absolutely ridiculous, right? What I've been doing is I've just been going to the store, eating the bullet in the grocery store, but I can take the food that I buy in the grocery store and I can stretch that, and then I can make better, healthier meals, right? I feel like some sort of way like they're asking me for $15 for a combo. You know what I'm saying? That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, no, dude, this is French fries, a Big Mac, and a drink, right? At some point, I just would pay the extra $10 more to actually sit down and have an actual meal in a restaurant. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Everything's in flux. Economy is the way that it is. But at the end of the day, if I was Microsoft, I would get on this stuff really quickly versus going to pass them by, right? And again, Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. But when I say pass them by, like I'm not saying they're hurt. You know, it's like a lot of people was worried about the stock market and looking at that and whatever. But some of these people that were complaining, man, are worth millions upon millions of dollars, right? So I'm not going to cry for you, dude. I mean, you're going to be able to pay your electricity and you probably own your house. So I'm not saying it's bad and nobody likes to lose money. I'm just saying there's levels. And that's where I'm at this point. So hold on a second. But yeah, thanks, Mr. Kima. Dude, let me know, dude. Let me know what you think. Because I think, and I'm looking at strictly from the possibility of what they're going to be able to do for that Disneyland, right? And then, of course, you see, when you see companies like Disney, right, being able to expand, right, there's a lot of benefits that can come from that. And again, there's people protesting. There's employees of Disney. There's fans of Disney, right? I'm a huge fan of Disney. I don't care, man. I just think they need to bring the magic back, and partnering up with people that actually love the brand and want to see the brand flourish. I want to see the brand be successful and doesn't have the hangups that we have here in the States.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Did he have to go? Because I don't see him.
No, he was helping me because we had to exchange some information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so now he can call me, and also we had to verify our gamer tags and stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've been about 3 hours. I mean, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, I'm just curious. Are you going to do anything for the showcase?
Showcase? What is that?
The Xbox? I don't know. I got to get the date to it. I know it's in June sometime. Right? Yeah.
I thought Unlimited was going to do something.
Is he? I don't know. I don't know if he is. I don't know.
I mean, I could do the show. The only thing I worry about the showcases is the my connection, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, my connection is good, but you got the videos and all that stuff, streaming and stuff like that. If I try and do a StreamYard, I don't know how that's going to work.
Oh, okay. Well, then let Unlimited handle that. If he's willing. Unlimited, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you're going to do that. Just let us know if you're going to do a Xbox showcase, because we at this point we do it every year.
Yeah. If he doesn't, then I can do something.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I can do something, and then what I'll do is I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
But I'll wait on him to see if he's going to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie. I like by the time it goes live, and I think it's better if you guys do it live.
Oh, okay.
Because I'll be at work.
Oh, you got to work on it. Okay.
Oh wait, is it on Sunday though? Are they gonna do
I don't know. That's I have to look it up. Let me look it up.
Well, if it's Sunday, I gotta go to church. So
Xbox.
Yeah. So usually when I do those, it's usually delayed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I like it when you guys do it live. I mean, I can't watch it live with you guys, but then I can watch it.
It says June 8th.
Let me look it up. June 8th is... Shoot. Hold on. June 8th. Oh, yeah, that is a Sunday.
That is a Sunday. Okay. All right. So it's up to Unlimited to pull us through on this one. We'll have to get your afterthoughts then. You'll have to do like an after show thing.
Because that's what they do. Like if they do it during the week, it's usually early and I'm at work. And then when they do it on the weekend, it's usually on Sundays.
Right. Yeah.
Because because Microsoft hates God. So.
Right. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I know. You've been naughty today. You know that, right?
I'm just like, dude, Sunday, Phil, really? Come on, guys. Can't you do it on Saturday? You know what I'm saying? Look, I don't know what their schedule and stuff is, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, that I would have no problem doing it. I would just hate um if we're doing it and the thing dies. That's the thing I worry about.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like when I stream this stuff, like if it's video that we're playing, if it's live, I don't know. That's the only thing.
Then I would rather Unlimited do it that way. If it's live, we need it to be stable.
Yeah, and that's the
And-
thing I worry about.
Right. And so yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, then if you do an after thing, we can also do that too.
Yeah. No worries. Oh shoot, he bought. Hey, sorry, brother. I was off screen. Sorry.
Yeah. Stop it. I don't count. You're just giving Daya all the attention. I get it. Yeah.
No, but hopefully, I mean, Unlimited does it though. I hope he does.
Yeah. I'm not sure because we were talking about if we're going to do a live broadcast of the.
Oh, for the showcase, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and that's my personal opinion. I feel as like when we do those, right, it would be best to do them after we see the show, only because it's really hard to hear what they're saying or talking when they do the show when we're all talking at the same time when it's live.
Okay.
I think it would be more effective if we do it right after, like immediately after it finishes.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion. I'm not gonna tell nobody how to do things.
Well,
Because
I think Sega Forever is going to do an after show.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well,
Because we could talk, concentrate on the conversation, concentrate on what we saw. You get what I'm trying to say? When we're speaking about it, when you're trying to talk at the same time as they're showing it, you miss out little things here and there. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I feel. I'm just saying. You know, but we definitely need to do it. Yes, for sure. I know Unlimited will probably do it. You know, we have options. I mean,
busy. I hope he does. If not, then we might have to try to see if Sega Man can do it or somebody else.
yeah, or even me on my channel. But I think or Sega Forever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
I'll figure it out. Regardless, I'll figure it out. It's just it's just a matter of everybody being available at the same time. Because even 100, he likes to do stuff. 100 does it too. But he usually does it while it's live. And everybody likes to do it while it's live because then it gives them more views. But to be honest, when you go look on the internet, on YouTube, when they do their showcase, everybody's trying to do a live video. So it's like, it's pointless. You're not going to divide yourself for so many people. You can't. Even if you wanted to. Like, let's say Sega Forever is doing one, Sega Man's doing one, 100 is doing one, I'm doing one. I would love to go to everybody, but you can't do it realistically speaking for everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say it's always better to do it afterwards because you could do it. We could do it in different channels and then, and host it with different people and have better results, in my opinion.
I mean, the only way I do it live is, I mean, I don't go to anybody else's channels. Like if
I know. But you go to us. Like if I do a podcast, you'll do it. If you Sega Forever, Sega Man does a podcast. You go.
But I'm just saying, like, if I'm gonna watch you guys live, I'm gonna watch it live. Like either I'm watching it directly from Xbox,
right?
Or I'm gonna watch one of you guys stream talking about it, watching it live. If I had no other choice, right? What I mean by that is like if I'm watching it from work, and I'm not saying I watch it at work, but I'm just saying, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, one of those
nobody said that.
Well, what the problem is that one thing I don't like is when they actually partner with somebody and you have to watch it on that person's. Like, and I'm talking. Okay, let's be honest, IGN, right? I like.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't like IGN. Xbox just do your thing.
IGN sucks so much.
They're horrible. Yeah,
they're garbage. They are so bad, man.
So I mean, but I know it's Sunday. So if it's Sunday, dude, that's church. So
yeah, I understand that. So let me see. We got 3 weeks until the 8th.
Oh, so, yeah. You know what? Maybe I'll be Catholic that weekend. I'll just go Saturday night with my friend. Tell my friend, hey man, I want to join you for.
You're so
bad. But if I tell my friend that, then he's gonna try and convert me. So I gotta be careful. He tells me that all the time. Oh, you're a Protestant, man. You're halfway there.
Oh yeah, I'm also enjoying Captain Blood. It's great.
What happened?
I'm also enjoying Captain Blood.
Oh yeah.
The pirate hack and slash beat 'em up shooter.
Oh.
It was supposed to come on 360. They released on Xbox.
Nice.
It's only $22.99.
That's not bad. That's a good price.
I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna try to finish that now. I just finished the South of Midnight while we were
beat
talking.
Midnight, so you got to
Mhm.
hold that because I haven't beat it yet. So
That's what irks me, right? Is because people will say like, "There are all these games and they're so expensive. They're $80. They're gonna be $100." I'm like, no, they're not. What game are you playing, right? Well, there's a bunch of games that are cheap. There's
yeah,
constant
just get an
sales.
older game, and then if you got Game Pass, play the newer game on Game Pass until you run through a lot of the older games, and you could be buying the older game. That's how I kind of cycle through it because you can't afford all the new games when they first drop because they all at the highest price. You can't afford all of them,
Oh,
So
that's
you
what
have-
people do, right? They pay for big money for the game that they really, 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 really want,
Mhm.
or the franchise that they really, really, really want,
Right.
and they don't buy anything else until it goes on sale.
See,
That's why I
that's the
don't.
thing.
That's why I
do
can't
that.
stand these. Yeah, that's why I can't stand these people. Not us, but
Mhm.
I can't stand these people because they're disingenuous, right? They're like, "Oh,
Right.
these games are-" bro, you don't buy it anyway." And you just question them, right? And again, like they'll always have an excuse, like Kibas says, Captain Blood's $22.
Yeah,
Oh, but it's not a
that's
AAA
price.
banger. Oh, but it's not. It's an old game. Oh, I heard that it had
cares?
problems. Yeah, I heard it was it was only a 4.
Another game, yeah.
At that point, you're just like, dude, you just don't buy games. That's all that tells me.
Like I finally got around to buying Kena Bridge of Spirits because I had been busy with.
Oh wow, that game is so awesome too.
So yep, I finally bought it. But I have my list, and I just check off my list, buying the older games that I either missed or just.
That's a perfect example, Dea. That game, when they did it, right? Those two guys, I believe both of them, if I'm not mistaken, they're both Black, if I'm not mistaken. And they're like, it's like a rarity, right? They're like developers that they're two friends that came from actual Disney that didn't want to work there anymore for whatever reason, right? They never disclosed that, but very talented. They put the game on PlayStation. They funded it. PlayStation just paid for the marketing and exclusivity. And the game didn't do well. It didn't do well at all. And it took them all that time. It took them like 3, almost 4 years to bring it to Xbox. And they said it from the very beginning. We want to bring it to Xbox, but we don't have enough money to make the game for both platforms at the same time. So we want to bring it out first to PlayStation because it's the bleeding platform, meaning it was the safer bet. Because at that time, I think Game Pass was still not a thing. And so they took all that time when they finally got enough money with certain, I guess with sales or long-term sales to bring it to Xbox. But they kept their word. At least they didn't do like other people said they would and they didn't. They actually kept their word and brought it over. And that game is beautiful.
It is.
Plays really well. That's another game. As a matter of fact, that now you mentioned it, I should start trying to play that to beat that alongside beating Hi-Fi Rush. That's why I got to finish. And Guardians of the Galaxy, because they're all great
I
games.
own all those games.
Yes. And now, and Captain Blood. The only thing with Captain Blood is that you can tell it's a 360 era type game by the graphics, but the game is fantastic. It's dope. It's good.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's good and it's cheap. It's a $20 game though.
Yeah, that's
They
cheap.
lost.
That's a good price. That's a good price.
Yeah, they lost the code for the game when it stopped production. Right? It's a Swedish company developer, I think. And then they found the code and were able to do some adjustments to bring it out to modernize it, meaning like do the controls to fit the mechanics of the game to fit the controllers of now. I think they also added like new, like better lighting, I think it was, and voiceover. The game originally didn't have voiceover. So they did those little tweaks and re-released it for modern day now, right? Which is great because you're not going to sit and tell me, oh, I can play, let's say, something like Mario Kart World, even though it doesn't look really like a next generation game. Still looks nice, still looks beautiful. But then you're going to have a problem with saying, oh, I'm going to play something like Captain Blood because it was supposed to be out on 360 originally and PS3. And the graphics only look like the 360 days, even though they're in 4K with HDR native, right? and it's only $20, but you could pay $90 or $80 for Mario Kart. You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of hypocrisy that Take It Forever just mentioned.
Right.
That they'll be like, oh, but you could tell it's $22. Yeah, but the game, it's 4 hours long. People don't really like it. It's old. It's not really a popular game, or the gameplay mechanics are not that great, or it feels old school, not new school. It's not like Dark Souls. Whatever the case may be, they make up all these excuses, and that just means that no, dude, you just don't buy games. It's that simple. It's facts, Like they released like that like a couple months ago. Well, they did it already with a few titles. There's another beat 'em up.
I hate to break in, guys.
No, go ahead.
But I have to go.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to say thank you guys for having a wonderful conversation with me. It was very enlightening. And,
Absolutely.
I always enjoy talking to you guys, and I'm enjoying the chat. We got very smart people in the chat who understands that what we're saying is general gaming stuff. Yes, we have our slants, but we give you information and you take and do with that what you will. And
absolutely,
that's what this type of place is. That's what Unlimited Production is. Sega Man, Heebot. If you go to any of their channels at any time, that's the whole goal of what we do is to give you that information to take and do with what you will with it. You come to your own conclusions, but at least we can say we're rooted in facts. And we specify when it's our opinions on something. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. I got to take off. I'm glad I was able to take some time off for today, and I look forward to the next
no thanks needed, because it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Dave. You know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry, dude. We're gonna wrap it up too because I gotta go as well.
Yeah.
You gotta go. Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing 3 hours, So.
Yeah. I have to go. So okay.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, love.
Let me go first. Okay. So I'm Dia4568. You can usually find me in Sega Forever's channel. I've not ever been in Heebots. He usually does solo, but I have been in the comment section there. Also, I'm with Unlimited Production. I haven't done a Sega Man in a long time because I can't meet up time-wise with him yet. But you can usually.
He always brings that up too.
Yeah, I can't get. It's like when he does.
Yeah, me too. He does it like at 9 in the morning. I'm still sleeping.
I can't do it. So like, I hope to be able to meet up with him and do one again. So because I love talking with him. So yeah, that's where you guys can usually find me. It's in our circles, and so yeah, that's where you can find me. Or sometimes I'm in the chat. I'm not always in the podcast. So all right, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Dia.
Bye, love. Have a good day, Dia.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Right.
Bye, love. Bye.
All right, brother. Shout yourself out, and then we'll wrap it up too.
Sure. I was just, if I can, I was just gonna say that they re-released the beat 'em up that looks like in the same graphic style as Scott Pilgrim. It's called Phantom Breakers. That's what it's called. Yeah. They re-released that for this generation. So if you didn't get it on Xbox 360 because it was delisted, you can get it now on the Xbox. And they also re-released the shoot 'em up. It's called Under Defeat. Phenomenal shoot 'em up. Really good. It's only $20. It was never released locally for 360. You could only get it like through the region thing. Like if you got it from like if you bought and put your Xbox 360 to be like Japanese region, then you can buy it, that type of thing. So I had it for 360 that way, but you can actually get it now. It's on Xbox also. They brought it out a few months ago, like a month and a half ago, and it's only $20. It's another recommendation. And it was delisted, so if you can get it again now on the Xbox Series consoles. If anybody's interested, I just wanted to throw that out there, alongside Captain Blood and shit.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So brother, yeah, maybe we can, play something later. I've been trying to play that game with you, like I told you. If you get a chance, just give me a call and let me know if you can.
Yeah. No worries.
All right. So it's your boy Hebot, guys. As always, you can find me on the Hebot 8 channel. we're trying to put up some stuff soon. I've just been busy with a lot of moving and some doctor's appointments and stuff, so I haven't been as productive or consistent, so to speak. But I'll be having stuff on more consistently soon, even with my figures and stuff like that. I've been kind of like kind of winging it because it's been tough. I haven't been feeling too well, but you know, one day at a time. Stick with me, and I'll do my best. I promise. Thanks again for sending me the link, brother. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys. Talk with you, especially about topics that we actually love to talk about. Not making up fake FOMO bullcrap to bring engagement. We don't do that type of stuff. So, yeah, and big shout out to the chat for the interaction, for the continued support and love. It's always a pleasure to have you guys come here and rock out and hear us out and make time for us. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for now, my brother.
All right, brother. And then I'll wrap it up by Mr. Kima. Thanks for being here, brother. Always appreciate you and your perspective. Daniel, thanks for being here as well. The Unlimited popped in. Appreciate it, brother. King J79, man. I see you in the other chats every once in a while, man. Thanks for being here, dude. Try and keep it Xbox today. But Stuart Big A, man. Look, dude, I'm not trying to get down on you, brother. I'm just letting you know how it is in this podcast and why I say the things that I say. But you're always welcome. Vontae, man, I'm sorry I didn't get to WhatsApp you, but I appreciate you being here as always. And Faded Blaze stopped by. Thank you, Faded, for being here. Had a pretty good podcast. It's pretty long, but yeah, 3 hours. So we're gonna wrap it up, guys. And thank you each and every one of you for being here. Thank you, brother, for being here, and thank you, the first lady of Xbox, Dia, for stopping by. All right, Xbox All In Channel, host Sega Forever. We out.
Peace.